Thursday, August 28th. You're watching CTV Morning Live. Thank you so much for being with us. Ainsley McPhail is going to be with the Kidney Foundation of Canada this morning, talking about their upcoming fundraising walk. It's all in support of people living with chronic kidney disease, as well as donors who are supporting them and their families, of course. We'll have all those details for you, but first, your headlines. Things aren't exactly going swimmingly for parents trying to book lessons. What's behind the frustration? Pleas from Canada Post why the corporation is urging union workers to take another look at the latest offer. And a friendly reminder from the Blue and Gold pops up on Regina billboards ahead of the Labor Day Weekend Classic. Bringing in Terry now. It was another gorgeous evening last night, nice and hot, lots of sunshine. It was beautiful.
Yeah, you've been loving the heat. I have been too, Rochelle, and it's still going to last throughout the rest of this week. Things are looking good, feeling good. It's clear out there. It's dark though. Pardon me, that would be inaccurate. 6:37 is when that sun will finally be rising this morning. 12 degrees comes with a slight breeze out of the east. It's only 4 kilometers per hour right now. The pressure is rising and the humidity is sitting at 100%. Plenty of sunshine once that sun eventually rises, and we'll be seeing that pretty much across the province. Not a whole lot going on here on the satellite image right now. And as far as the future cast to show us how the day will play out, there's not going to be much happening there either. You can see just a couple clouds here or there, but really clear conditions. And yes, warm temperatures are expected, very light winds, and overnight through tomorrow we're going to be seeing more of this. Plenty of sunshine, plenty of heat, well above seasonal. It will all come to an end though, and that'll be happening on the other side of the weekend. In fact, even as we're wrapping up the weekend, we might begin to see some shower activity, but up until then we've still got a stretch of hot, sunny days ahead. And yes, feeling the heat. 28 today, up in the low 30s for the first part of the weekend. Holiday Monday, 28 degrees, still well above seasonal, but those showers begin. They'll take us into Tuesday, and you'll see those temperatures dropping off after that.
Thank you, Terry. It's a first for the Winnipeg Police Service. On Wednesday afternoon, officers moved in on a riverside encampment, and in their hands, a judicial search warrant.
I want to be clear that police are not here to clear or evict anyone from their temporary shelter.
It happened at a camp along Waterfront Drive near the intersection with George Avenue. On Wednesday afternoon, police were hauling out numerous bicycles, some intact, some in pieces. We counted more than a dozen. Police say they entered a structure. They described it as having plywood walls covered with tarps. They arrested 3 people who were inside.
We took the necessary actions that we felt we were responsible under the courts and under our current laws in seeking judicial approval to execute a warrant on a structure that might indeed be somebody's temporary residence. And with that comes an expectation of privacy.
Police say the structures themselves aren't illegal and can be considered a temporary residence under the law. And so police decided to err on the side of caution and got a judicial search warrant so that they're covered legally as they continue their investigation into the stolen property. They say the 3 people arrested are free to return to the encampment if and when they're released. The 3 have not yet been charged with any crime. If you had trouble signing up for city swimming lessons this week, you're not alone. Most of the spots available through Winnipeg's Fall Leisure Guide were filled within hours of registration opening Wednesday morning. The city says it's dealing with a supply and demand issue, with recent pool closures making the matter worse. CTV's Danton Unger explains.
Full, cancelled, full.
This is what Ryan Palmquist found on the city's Leisure Guide website at 8 a.m. on Tuesday morning as he tried to register one of his kids for swimming lessons. He says he wasn't able to get a spot.
I mean, not surprised. This is the same experience I've had again and again and again.
The city says within 4 hours of registration opening Tuesday morning, 87% of swimming lessons for the fall season were full.
Obviously, the main problem is that there's more demand than there is supply of lessons, way more.
According to the city's website, 3 of the 11 city-owned indoor pools are currently closed. Bonnie Vittel is undergoing renovations along with the St. James Civic Center. The Transcona Kinsman Centennial Pool is also closed, though it's set to reopen in early September. And more pool closures are on the way. The city notes the Elmwood Kildonans pool and the pool at the Cindy Clausen Rec Complex will be closed most of September for maintenance. Not to mention, the University of Manitoba's pool was forced to close in the spring, displacing the teams and clubs that swam there. A spokesperson for the mayor's office tells CTV News in a statement, with the University of Manitoba pool closed, there are fewer options, and that's putting more pressure on city programs. Adding, we know how important these programs are and will keep working to expand access. That work includes a proposed indoor pool in Transcona, but the city notes construction isn't estimated to begin until 2028 to 2030. For Palmquist, he says this year his family will have to fend for themselves.
I guess we're just going to go to the public swim and try to teach our kids as best we can ourselves.
Danton Unger, CTV News, Winnipeg.
As of Wednesday, 88% of fall swimming lessons are full, with registration for non-residents opening this morning. The city says more fall swimming classes may be added as new instructors are brought on board, so the city encourages residents to keep checking the leisure guide online. The Canada-U.S. trade war is escalating. As of Friday, the U.S. will end duty-free shipping on packages under $800 a move small businesses here say is already hitting their bottom line.
In the absence of a very clear idea of both the cost and how to actually do it, we've decided to pause all shipping to the United States. So as of Monday of this week, we're no longer taking orders from our American customers and friends.
That's Anna Hunter, co-owner of Longway Homestead near St. Anne. She raises sheep and processes the wool, which is then sold across Canada and the U.S. She estimates roughly 40% of her products are sent stateside. The Canadian Federation of Independent Business says many small business owners are now facing similar headaches.
You know, going forward, 30% say they anticipate they'll be impacted either directly or indirectly by this change, but another 33% say it's too early to tell and they're not sure. And that's very alarming, right? That means there's so much uncertainty in the air, and it makes it really difficult for businesses to plan. You know, are we going to have to raise our prices, or will we be able to absorb these costs?
The CFIB says it's pushing Ottawa to share the tariff revenue it collects from the trade dispute with small businesses to help soften the blow. Canada Post is urging the union representing its workers to revisit its offers, saying there still is a substantial gap between the two sides. In the latest round of contract talks, the Crown Corporation says the union has hardened its position on many items and added new demands. 55,000 postal workers rejected an offer by the Crown Company earlier this year. Canada Post says it's now urging the union to take another look to, quote, align with the realities confronting the company, pointing to mounting financial losses and the need for what it calls urgent changes. Canada Post reported a loss before tax of $407 million in the second quarter. Winnipeg has the highest proportion of workers commuting to work in Canada, according to a new report from Statistics Canada. StatsCan data shows 9 in 10 Winnipeg workers regularly commute to work. That's the highest proportion among major Canadian cities. Still, most commuters drive. But the report shows more Winnipeggers are taking public transit, with just over 11% using the bus, and about 6% use active transportation such as biking or walking to get to work. That's the highest level since the pandemic, according to the City of Winnipeg. Also, Winnipeg commuters spent less time in their cars compared to most Canadians. The average Winnipeg commute time is about 23.5 minutes, which is 3 minutes less than the Canadian average. An old rivalry will play out again this weekend in Saskatchewan. The Rough Riders are hosting the Blue Bombers in the Labor Day Classic. And ahead of that matchup, the Bombers are poking a little fun at the host city. A handful of billboards like this have gone up in Regina. They say, "Friends, don't let friends wear green," alongside images of Blue Bomber fans celebrating and a Green Riders fan who looks like he might be feeling a little stressed. Below the cheeky message says a public service message from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Love it. Here's a look now what's happening in traffic at Confusion Corner. Things are appearing to start off pretty smoothly in this part of the city. No issues to tell you about at this point. Let's go now to Ainsley McPhail, who's live with the Kidney Foundation of Manitoba this morning. Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning, Michelle. September 21st at St. Vital Park is when the Kidney Walk is for Winnipeggers. There's been 2 other ones so far, one in Brandon that's already wrapped up with a goal of $135,000. Now, unfortunately, they have not yet met that goal, and they're lower than they'd like to be. So we're calling out to Manitobans to support this organization that advocates for kidney donors through peer support, through helping people get to dialysis from rural areas, and really starting the conversation. So whether it's your workplace or an individual who wants to fundraise, we're going to be chatting with somebody from the Kidney Foundation as well, the Manitoba chapter. We're going to be chatting with a recipient and a donor. Dialysis, I learned today, 3 times a week, 4 hours each. So what it really takes out of an individual, we're stronger together as we fight this.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ainsley. Let's go out to the rooftop now. It's still dark out there, but the sun's going to shine today.
It certainly will, and there's enough glow out here already that I can see there will be pretty much no clouds or very few clouds obstructing that sunshine. It's beautiful out here. I need the extra layer on, but mostly because it's dark, and there's a little bit of fog that Environment Canada is saying is starting to develop just out by the airport. We might start to notice that in the downtown area too. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not noticing any of that just yet. The winds are light. They're out of the east, just 4 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity sitting at 100%. So yeah, so long as the sun isn't shining on me right now, I do want that extra layer on. Not that it's cold by any means. 13 degrees is still above seasonal. 9 is now a normal low temperature. A normal daytime high, that would be around 22. And we're all going to be soaring past that number today. Feeling the heat once again, enjoying the sunshine that goes with it. So plenty of heat, light winds, and above seasonal temperatures. And it's not just for today. We're going to watch this pattern continuing for the next stretch of days with nothing but sunshine and no sign of precipitation until we're wrapping up the long weekend. So I was just looking at my flowers thinking I'm probably going to need to give them a good drink themselves with this kind of heat. And then on the other side of the weekend, with that chance of showers, come the cooler temperatures. So that's how we're looking into September. Taking a break right now. We'll be back with more on CTV Morning Live.
CTV Morning Live Weather is brought to you by Destination Dinner Stage, Manitoba's only musical dinner theater.
Good morning. It is 6:15. Alberta's police watchdog has determined a Winnipeg officer was justified in the fatal shooting of a University of Manitoba student who was experiencing a mental health crisis 2 years ago. Investigators determined 19-year-old Afolabi Opaso posed a lethal threat to the officers who arrived at the apartment for a well-being check. They found the officer didn't reasonably have time to flee or make use of a less lethal option. The officer's partner told investigators when they entered the apartment, Opaso was about 15 feet away and glaring at them while holding a knife in each hand. She said he didn't respond when asked what was going on and to drop the knives, and suddenly ran at them, which is when the other officer opened fire. The report concluded that version of events is consistent with other evidence, including a short cell phone video shot from another room. Opaso's roommates also told investigators he was behaving erratically, and they either saw or suspected he had knives when they phoned 911 for help. The officer who fired the shots exercised his right to not be interviewed for the investigation. A lawyer for Opaso's family, who is from Nigeria, tells us he is still speaking with the family and may have more to say next week. The excitement of a new school year was quickly shattered in Minneapolis Wednesday. 2 children were killed and 17 others injured as they were praying. The FBI is now investigating the shooting as an act of domestic terrorism and a hate crime targeting Catholics. CTV's Mike Le Couture on what we know about the young victims.
The hugs are a little longer and a little tighter tonight in Minneapolis. In their first week of class, children at a Catholic school were targeted in a mass shooting that is being called cruel and cowardly.
The troopers responded. We received a lot more medical.
Police say at around 8:30, the assailant fired multiple shots through the stained glass windows. Students and adults who were inside ducked and ran for cover.
I just ran under the pew, and then I covered my head. My friend saved me though, because he laid on top of me, but he got hit.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared. And so a teacher laid me downstairs. Me and my friend Cece were just praying.
2 children aged 8 and 10 were killed. The 17 wounded are as young as 6, and the oldest is in their 80s.
There was some sort of manifesto that was timed to come out on YouTube it's been taken down, and our investigators are going through that to try and develop a motive from that.
Police identified the shooter as 23-year-old Robin Westman, who died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The FBI director described Westman as a male, but legal documents requesting a name change say Westman identified as female. The mayor has since heard of hate directed at the trans community.
Anybody who is using this as an opportunity to villainize our trans community or any other community out there has lost their sense of common humanity.
Meantime, a community is grappling with an unspeakable horror, and families are coming to grips with unimaginable loss.
These were Minneapolis families. These were American families. And the amount of pain that they are suffering right now is extraordinary.
Prime Minister Mark Carney posted online, "Canadians are holding your community in our hearts," while President Donald Trump has ordered flags at federal buildings to be flown at half-mast.
Border security and fentanyl trafficking were the topics of conversation at a meeting between Canadian officials and the U.S. Attorney General. Justice Minister Sean Fraser called the 45-minute meeting productive. He was accompanied by the Minister of Public Safety and Canada's fentanyl czar, Kevin Brosseau. Fraser said they talked about shared priorities and that the meeting was an opportunity to highlight Canada's ongoing efforts in the fight against fentanyl and criminal organizations. If you bought some dining room furniture from The Brick in the past couple years, listen up. Health Canada has published a recall for Lars branded furniture due to excessive levels of lead. The products include a counter chair, wood countertop, and metal base, tabletop center glass insert, and counter table. All were sold between June 2023 and July of this year and came individually or as a 5 to 7 piece set. Health Canada says black coating on the product's legs and metal base contained an excessive amount of lead. As of August 15th, there have been no reports of incidents or injuries in Canada due to the products. The Trans Mountain Optimization Project isn't getting much attention from the government.
I don't think that's a project of national interest, so I'm not going to jump in front of that. If there's a case to be made for optimization, they will make that case, and we'll consider it through the normal course.
The Trans Mountain Pipeline ships oil from Alberta to the BC coast, and the company says optimization could boost oil shipments to nearly 1.2 million barrels a day. The government passed the Building Canada Act in June, giving them sweeping new powers to approve major projects of national interest. But Energy Minister Tim Hodgson says his government's priority will be approving projects they're confident will have support from the provinces and First Nations. After 8 years of work, a retired French metal worker has completed the job of a lifetime. With the help of his grandson, they finished a replica of the Eiffel Tower. Neighbors came out as the finishing touches were put on with a crane. It stands 31 meters tall, about a tenth of the size of the real deal. And here's what's happening now in traffic along McPhillip Street. Things appear to be moving quite well over here. No issues to tell you about at this point. If you see any problems, let us know, please.
Yeah, get those sunglasses out, though, before you leave home. I know it's dark right now. The sun hasn't started rising yet, but once it does, we'll be seeing plenty of it. We're looking through the Bathfitter Live Eye Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. You can see the lack of clouds out there. It will be it is a very clear start. It will continue to be a very clear day with plenty of sunshine. And as that eventually rises a little above the buildings, settle down over there. Our equipment's just falling apart. Oh my goodness. Okay, taking a look at these numbers this morning, 13 degrees. That's where we're sitting right now. That's actually a little bit above seasonal. A normal low would be about 9 degrees. So most of us are now in those double digits, even some mid-teens off through southwestern Manitoba. Once we're looking through northern Manitoba, a little bit cooler yet, especially further into that northeast, the northwestern border. These are above seasonal values that you're waking up to in those mid-teens. Clear conditions, though, across the province. So all of us will be enjoying that sunshine here in Winnipeg. though, it doesn't even rise till 6:37, so still a little ways to go. And then once it does start to rise, that's when the heat is going to come. And take a look at how these temperatures will be rising through the day. 22 is now a seasonal daytime high, and we'll have already surpassed that by noontime today, climbing even higher into the afternoon. A hot 28 degrees expected today. Gets even hotter than in the days ahead. The weekend, it'll be a warm one. There you can see with the low 30 temps expected right through the start of the long weekend. Wrapping up the weekend still above seasonal, but the rain will likely begin, and that'll continue overnight and into Tuesday when those temperatures will be dropping off. Whitemouth Falls Provincial Park, that's where this fellow, I don't know what I'm looking at. It's a bear, that's for sure. Thanks to Zenon for the photo. And keep them coming, please, to Winnipeg weather at ctv.ca. We're taking a break. We'll be back soon.
Good morning. Ottawa is spending millions on electric vehicle charging infrastructure across the country. But as CTV's BC Bureau Chief Andrew Johnson reports, it's happening despite a big slump in EV sales.
Hundreds of new electric vehicle charging stations are coming to one of Canada's fastest EV adopters.
Canadians are making that choice, particularly here in BC, leading the charge. BC and Quebec have a great rivalry, I think, bringing on EVs.
In Victoria, the Carney government announced $22 million in funding for nearly 500 new EV chargers in the province, part of building out EV infrastructure to support its zero-emission vehicle mandate. The mandate requires 20% of all light-duty vehicles sold in Canada to be fully electric or plug-in hybrid by next year, 60% by 2030, and that rises to 100% by 2035.
We are committed to growing EVs across Canada and making them more affordable and more accessible.
The auto industry, under pressure by U.S. tariffs, wants the mandate eliminated, saying thousands of jobs could be at risk. Recent polling shows close to 3/4 of Canadians think it should be rolled back. And EV sales in June were down 35% year over year. Some blame the end of the federal rebate program that saved buyers thousands.
The incentive that was in place for consumers to buy cars has now disappeared. And, and when you take things away from customers, they will rebel.
The EV push is also coming under attack from Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, who cited a study on the significant drop in battery power in sub-zero temperatures.
Rural communities in much of Canada would simply cease to exist over the next 10 years without the ability to use gas and diesel-powered vehicles.
1 in every 4 cars sold this year is expected to be electric, with China and Europe leading the way. July sales year over year globally jumped more than 20%. Right now, Canada is driving in the other direction. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
Do you love wine and a little VIP luxury? Then this is for you. We're giving away a Champagne Lounge VIP experience to the Winnipeg Wine Festival each week. And that's for you and 3 friends at the RBC Convention Centre on September 26th and 27th. Enjoy exclusive wine tastings and support the Special Olympics while you're at it. To enter, head to the contest page on our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and enter the clue word taste. Coming up, we're going to learn about the Kidney Foundation of Manitoba's fundraising walk. That's coming up real soon. Stay with us.
CTV Morning Live is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
Ooh, that looks pretty, doesn't it? 6 minutes away from sunrise at 6:37 this morning. 13 degrees right now. Just a little bit of fog out there. Light winds expected throughout the day today. They're very light right now, just 4 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity sitting at 100%. That sky is beautiful. I always say a few more clouds make for a more dramatic sunrise, but there's something beautiful and simple about what we're seeing out there this morning. And yes, when that sun does rise, it's going to be throwing a whole lot of heat our way. Not much to show you here on the satellite image because, I mean, we just looked outside. There's very few clouds out there. So really not a lot going on, and that's the case across the entire province. 28 degrees. That'll be well and above seasonal. That'll be similar to where we've been for the past couple of days now. Mercury has been pushing up into those high 20s. Winds today will be on the lighter side out of the southeast up to about 10 kilometers per hour. They're even lighter than that right now. But yes, very light winds. And even overnight, still out of the south at about 10 clicks with the clear conditions continuing. Now, we're above seasonal with our daytime highs, but also with our overnight lows. 9 degrees is normal now for this time of year. We'll be dropping to about 14 degrees tomorrow, even hotter yet. Could hit 30 degrees with lots of sunshine and still those winds on the lighter side. 30 degrees is where we're going to sit moving into the start of the long weekend, but by the time we're wrapping up the long weekend, we'll have dropped a couple degrees still. Well above seasonal by Monday. The chance of showers begins. That'll continue overnight into Tuesday, and that's when we'll really see those temperatures drop below seasonal as we're looking ahead to the first week of September.
Thanks, Terry. Manitoba's chief medical examiner has ordered inquests into the deaths of 2 men while incarcerated. Tyson Dumas and Nathan Otkey were found in their cells at the Paw Correctional Center and Stony Mountain, respectively, after they were assaulted in 2022. Inquests are not to lay blame, but they can offer recommendations to prevent similar deaths. A third inquest is related to the death of a 22-year-old man who was fatally shot following an altercation with RCMP that same year. Details about when the inquests will take place will be announced at a later date. PC candidate Colleen Robbins is the next MLA for Spruce Woods. She won the by-election Tuesday night, holding off the NDP's Ray Berthollet. The normally safe Tory seat was clearly up for grabs as the race came down to the wire. Here's CTV's Jeff Keel on just how close it came.
Manitoba's progressive conservatives are celebrating a very narrow win.
A lot of people who predicted the PCs to win this election did not expect it to be that close, myself included.
On Tuesday night, Colleen Robbins won the Spruce Woods by-election, defeating her closest rival, NDP candidate Ray Berthollet. The mainly rural area, which takes in a portion of North Brandon, is a traditional PC seat.
Very exciting. A win is a win. I'm very excited for Colleen. I'm excited to have her voice in the chamber, representing the people of Spruce Woods.
Even though this is a Tory stronghold, the race was a nail-biter. Robbins garnered 2,805 votes, Berthollet 2,735 votes, a difference of only 70. Despite losing, the NDP campaign headquarters seemed more like a victory party.
This was the worst outcome they ever got by far.
PC leader Abhi Khan says the margin was tight because of the Premier's tactics. Canoe made several funding promises in the area prior to the election. Khan has alleged the Premier violated the blackout period rules by making an announcement last week, and he says the election call was delayed until harvest.
The Premier went out of his way to violate the rules. He went out of his way to manipulate the timeline by delaying this as long as he could.
But adjunct professor of political studies Chris Adams says the close race shows there is still high support for the NDP across the province, and Khan, a Winnipeg MLA, has more to do to shore up support in rural Manitoba, where the PCs normally flourish.
Well, it says that the PCs have work to do. They have work to do to rebuild their rural base, and that should be a safe area for them.
Jeff Keel, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Meanwhile, Liberal candidate Stephen Reid finished a distant third with 444 votes. Vehicles still can't travel over the Arlington Bridge, and there is a huge truck parked right in front of it. Crews are currently working on the bridge with a large drill. The city tells us this is part of the preliminary design work for the new bridge. The current Arlington Bridge closed indefinitely in November of 2023 due to structural concerns. Winnipeg's 2025 budget included $22 million to decommission the bridge and another $5 million for design work on the new bridge. Most Manitoba parents say their children's school zones are unsafe. That's according to results of a new survey released by CAA Manitoba, just days before kids head back to school. CAA says the survey found 90% of Manitoba parents report dangerous driving behaviors in school zones. They cited speeding, drivers blocking school bus lanes, and distracted driving. The study also found because of safety concerns, 43% of parents choose to drive their kids to school. The problem with that is only increases traffic congestion around schools. CAA makes this suggestion.
Find a safe drop-off spot that's maybe a block or two away from the school. This could be a family drop-off spot where routinely you will be picked up and dropped off there. This is a great and a small thing that you can do that will have a real impact.
The survey found most parents support greater safety controls in school zones, including lower speed limits, enhanced infrastructure, and improved enforcement and education. A fundraiser has been held to help a Montreal senior who was scammed out of thousands of dollars and is at risk of losing her home.
Well, it's just sort of embarrassing
You know, you feel embarrassed that you let yourself get scammed like that. So it's not a thing that you really want to tell your family.
89-year-old Diane Riley lives in an assisted living facility with her 2 adult children who both have special needs. In February, she says she got a phone call from someone who said he was part of an anti-fraud squad and that her account had been compromised. Someone then came to pick up her bank cards. She says the scam cost her more than $50,000, and she didn't realize that her rent check started bouncing back. She's now trying to pay for those missed payments so she and her children can continue to stay in their home together. A child in Louisiana has bounced into the record books.
Exhilarating. I can jump higher than usual. I can do more things with it. More skills that you build whenever you get older.
12-year-old Wilson has made a name for himself with his hobby. He jumped hands-free on his pogo stick for 30 minutes and 2 seconds, smashing the old record, which was documented by Kids World Records. He says training for this has also taught him some valuable lessons about discipline. Well, here's a look now at what's going on at Kennison and Sterling Lyon. Looks like a smooth drive so far this morning. No issues to tell you about. Let's look now at gas prices. The Canadian average is $1.39. The provincial average is higher at $1.40 a litre. And in Winnipeg, the average is $1.42. The lowest price in the Winnipeg is $1.34. All this info is on gasbuddy.com.
Price at the pump brought to you by kidneycard.ca. Get a free tow and a tax receipt for value of your car.
Let's go back now to Ainsley McPhail, who's telling us all about the kidney walk that's coming up real soon. Good morning.
Good morning, Michelle. It's their biggest fundraising event of the year. Gemma Ignacio joins us now to tell us all about it. So the Kidney Foundation puts this on. What's it all about?
Yeah, so the Kidney Walk is the Kidney Foundation's largest annual fundraising event of the year, and it's all in support of Manitobans living with kidney disease. It's a chance for the community to come together to raise funds for education, programs and services, and research for a cure. It's also a day for celebrating organ donors, honoring the ones that we've lost, and to let patients know that they're not alone in this journey. The event takes place on Sunday, September 21st at St. Vital Park.
And you have quite a lofty fundraising goal this year. You're lower than what you want to be, so we're calling out to Manitobans to help out. It's a pretty big number, but it's also a lot that goes into this.
Yes, so our goal this year is $135,000. With that being said, anybody can join. You don't need to have a personal connection with kidney disease whatsoever. You can bring friends, family, your coworkers, or even come by yourself. Everybody is welcome and to come out and support.
It really is a community endeavor, and I'm sure there's people, you know, with lived experience, some of which we're actually going to be chatting with throughout the morning. What does it mean to these families to be able to have that support? You were telling me just how rigorous that even dialysis can be on the body and the mind.
The support means everything. Seeing the community come out to Kidney Walk, it shows patients that we're here for them, not just us as the Kidney Foundation, but the whole community. Manitobans, Winnipeggers, friends and family of those with kidney disease, or even caregivers, nurses, those in the dialysis unit. It means so much to everybody.
And before we're out of time too, there were actually 3 walks total. The final walk is the one in Winnipeg at the end of September. You know, let's thank the other communities that have already done the work.
Yes, so we had one back in June in Morden and as well as Brandon, and we had such a great turnout this year. It was so amazing to see everybody come out, even with the smoky, the smoke in the area. There was so much, but seeing everybody come out again, it was so amazing.
Thank you so much. Living with kidney disease is incredibly challenging for families. Coming up at 7:27, we're chatting with someone from the foundation.
Okay, thank you, Ainsley. Let's go out to the rooftop now. You need a jacket to start the day, but it's going to get hot.
It is going to get hot. I didn't even bring a jacket. This is just the one that I like to keep at my desk here, just for days like this, right? Because it's cool enough that I would be uncomfortable. I'd be complaining if I was standing out here without the jacket, and nobody at home wants to hear me complaining when it's going to be such a beautiful day today. It is going to be a warm day, though, so I'll preface that first saying that those of you that don't love the heat, these morning hours are the ones to enjoy, and then enjoy your siesta into the the heat of the day this afternoon. 13 degrees right now. There's just a bit of a breeze out of the east at 4 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising, humidity sitting at 100%. Environment Canada is talking about a little bit of fog developing in some of the outlying areas. Still haven't noticed that really in the downtown area, but maybe keep that in mind if you've got a highway commute perhaps, or even some of those more open areas within the city. Yes, it's going to be warm. The sun is up now. It hasn't made its way above the buildings in the downtown area, but at least there's a gorgeous glow out here right now, and we'll all be soaking up that sunshine across the entire province today. It won't be quite as hot across parts of northern Manitoba, more into those low 20s, but high 20s here in the south, and it even gets hotter over the next few days. We're talking 30 degrees as we're rolling on into the last day of this week and into the weekend. Taking a break right now, but we'll be back with more CTV Morning Live.
Weather brought to you by Blinds Are Beautiful at 900 Lorimer Boulevard, featuring Hunter Douglas shades.
Looking at the early markets, futures are pointing to a strong opening on Wall Street. Dow futures are up 147 points. NASDAQ futures are up 2 by 45. S&P futures are in the black, up 15. The Canadian dollar is seeing a slight increase this morning. Overseas, the Hang Seng is down by 202, while Japan's Nikkei is up 308 points. Good morning, it is 6:45. A Manitoba man missing for weeks has been found dead. 37-year-old Jeffrey Kolomaya from Pimicikamak Cree Nation was last seen in the community August 10th. Wednesday, RCMP announced his body was recovered from a marshy area near Cross Lake. The investigation into Kolomaya's death continues pending the results of an autopsy. Manitoba's Ethics Commission says Premier Wab Kinew did nothing wrong when he flew to Grey Cup games on airplanes chartered by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Opposition Conservatives called for the investigation in March, claiming Kinew violated the Conflict of Interest Act when he accepted an invitation to fly to the Grey Cup game with the team in 2023 and 2024. However, in a report released Wednesday, the Provincial Ethics Commissioner says Wab Kinew paid fair market value for the flights out of his own pocket, so he wasn't required to obtain prior approval or file information afterward. More than 2 weeks after it started, the Long Lake fire in Nova Scotia is still burning out of control.
This is a large fire, and it needs more resources on the ground and in the air, and we are getting everything we can to get this fire brought under control as quick as we can.
Since it started in August 13th, the fire has more than doubled in size. People from more than 500 homes have been forced out. Officials aren't sure yet how many structures have been damaged or destroyed. Rain earlier this week helped, but firefighters say conditions are turning more dry and more dangerous. Crews from Ontario have now joined the local firefighters on site. In New Brunswick, officials say there are still 9 active wildfires in the province. 2 of them are out of control. People living close to the active fires are being told to be ready to go and have an emergency kit ready just in case. As if Donald Trump's tariffs aren't inflicting enough pain, now small business owners who've built their businesses on being able to ship to American customers free from customs charges are bracing for higher costs. On Friday, the U.S. is ending the exclusion from shipping fees. It's called the de minimis exemption. CTV's Rachel Aiello on what it is and what it means to those in the line of fire.
60% of our online sales for antiques are going to the States.
For small shop owners like Dave Pelkey, who use platforms like Etsy to reach customers south of the border, the United States scrapping its de minimis tariff exemption is going to hit hard.
My worst fear is that people just decide not to buy at all, just because the price is uncertain, whether they're going to get it or not is uncertain.
Starting Friday, all U.S.-bound shipments worth $800 or less will be hit with duties, forcing tough choices for Canadian businesses. Absorb or pass on the cost, cut off a key market,
So we'll do a CUSMA form,
or go through the complex process of becoming CUSMA compliant.
It's coming at a time where you don't necessarily have a lot of resilience in the small business sector.
But Donald Trump dumping de minimis is also set to cost American consumers and could result in big headaches for U.S. border agents.
It was there for a reason, to speed up things.
Millions of duty-free packages enter the U.S. daily. But with this change looming, postal operators in at least 25 5 countries are suspending U.S. shipping, citing the lack of clarity around enforcement. Canada Post is not one of them. Instead, they'll be using a third party to collect and send the duties directly to U.S. Customs. For products originating in Canada, the current tariff rate is 35%. For most goods.
We received quite a few orders on Saturday and Sunday. We paid extra shipping costs to make sure that they made it across the border.
Canada Post flagged to us today that documents and gifts valued under $100 sent from Canadians, not businesses, will be exempt.
Researchers say pediatricians, family doctors, and parents need to learn more about what kind of performance-enhancing substances kids are using when they work out or play sports. Nearly a fifth of Canadian pediatric specialists surveyed say they saw adolescents who needed medical attention due to dietary supplements or performance drugs over the previous year. The majority of cases were boys, and more than half of them were between 13 and 15 years old. Researchers say the use of whey protein, creatine, and pre-workout mixes, as well as illegal drugs such as anabolic steroids, have been on the rise. While it might not be possible to stop all adolescents from using supplements, researchers suggest healthcare providers and parents need to ensure they're using them as safely as possible and getting the products from reputable sources. Here's a look now what's happening on the Norwood Bridge. Looks like things are moving well over here. No issues to tell you about at this point.
All right, sunshine to kick off your morning. It's looking gorgeous, isn't it? It's finally up now, 13 degrees. It'll start to warm up soon. There is a little fog if you see way off in the distance, just a bit of that haziness. That's very light right now. Kilometer visibility is down to about, that was a poor way to say it. Visibility is down to about 23 kilometers versus a perfect day of 24. Winds are light, though, out of the east, just 4 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity sitting at 100%. It looks stunning out there. A beautiful start to your day. It's going to be a gorgeous day across the province if you like the heat. If you don't like the heat, get out early because the mercury is going to be soaring no matter where you are. I'm talking low to mid 20s right up into parts of northern Manitoba where seasonal daytime highs would have you in the high teens. So considerably warmer than you might expect for this time of year. Plenty of sunshine, very light winds. 19 degrees, for example, would be a normal daytime high in places like Flin Flon, the Pas. And you're going to be pushing instead into those mid to high 20s. Up around the 30-degree mark is where you'll end up through much of southwestern Manitoba, where 22 would be a normal daytime high. So yes, it's going to be not just above seasonal through the day, but our overnight lows are going to remain above the seasonal low of 9. So we've got this stretch of days ahead with plenty of sunshine expected, very little signs of precipitation, so you're going to be in charge of your own plants and flowers. If you're still maintaining them at this point in the season, you probably should be. There's a few weeks left of that. Moving up into the 30-degree mark, and that's where we'll be for tomorrow and into the start of the long weekend, with Monday bringing a chance of showers and only dipping slightly, but the real dip with the temperatures will come as we're looking further ahead into the start of next week.
Thanks, Terry. Prime Minister Mark Carney wrapped up his trip to Europe Wednesday with a visit to Canadian soldiers stationed in Latvia. It's the Armed Forces' largest overseas mission. CTV's Abigail Beeman on what Mark Carney told the troops.
Inside a field ambulance, up close with tanks, Prime Minister Mark Carney talked to dozens of Canadian troops to learn what they do, and he heard what they need.
You see how important, for lack of a better term, drones are in the Ukraine fight. We are watching, studying, understanding how that fight is there, but we need those pieces of equipment here in Latvia.
Drone operator Wayne Fraser says modernization would help too, right down to his tactical vest.
It is a little outdated. There's no modular capability with it, which can be a little bit impeding.
We're also, back home, creating a new defense procurement agency so we can build at pace. So the women and men of the armed forces have cutting-edge military equipment that they need and deserve.
About 200 kilometers from the Russian border, the Prime Minister announced a 3-year extension of Operation Reassurance, saying, unfortunately, the need for the Canadian-led NATO mission here has only intensified. Carney didn't take questions. His defense minister pushed on whether Canadian troops in Ukraine was a possibility, regardless of a ceasefire.
These conversations are continuing. Obviously, the United States has an important role to play.
So we'll see.
Latvia was the last stop on a 4-country European tour for the Prime Minister, who told Canadian troops here in Latvia what he told Ukrainians in Kyiv, that the strategy for Russia needs to be deter and fortify. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Camp Adige, Latvia.
And there's plenty of reaction to the City of Ottawa's decision to order employees back to the office 5 days a week. The call wasn't made by the mayor or councillors, but by the city manager, with the goal of improving morale and workplace culture. But some opposed to the change say it could have the exact opposite effect. CTV's Dylan Dyson reports.
Remote work for City of Ottawa staff will soon be no more. Beginning in January, city workers will be required to be in office 5 days a week.
We want to increase culture, innovation, I'm going to say relationship building at the city in terms of people coming back to the workplace. That's really important.
The city says the move follows trends in workplaces across the country after years of hybrid work following the pandemic.
The average staff, 85% of them are at work every day. Others are at the office or at their place of work 2 to 5 days a week.
It's about a 6 or 7% increase in the amount of time that our total workforce is going to spend at the workplace.
It will see about 2,600 employees back in office 5 days a week, which businesses say will provide a big boost, similar to when federal public servants return to the office 3 days a week.
We did see like an immediate increase in our lunch volume and also to our after work volume, and just honestly through a little bit throughout the day. So it's really good to have that energy back in the restaurant. I definitely do expect to see a little bit more people coming in.
Ontario's premier praising the move, and Mayor Sutcliffe.
I spoke to him the other night. I'm very proud of him, and the mayor's doing a great job there. And I'm glad. Now the federal government, you need to follow suit, and all other regions across Ontario. It's time to bring people back to work.
But some city councillors not in favor of the return to office.
I think morale is not going to be increased by this. I think there's a lot of workers that are unhappy and upset about this decision.
That feedback is mixed in terms of coming into the workplace versus not coming into the workplace.
I wish we would make evidence-based decisions, and in this case, the evidence doesn't support that productivity is going to improve. I think this was a values-based decision based on what the Premier had said, and unfortunately, it's the wrong one.
Dylan Dyson, CTV News.
All right, we're going to take a break here. We'll be back after this with your 7 o'clock headlines. Manitoba at 7 a.m. on August 28th. You're watching CTV Morning Live. Coming up a little later in our Community Connection, we're going to tell you about a men's support group. It's called the Men's Shed Program. We're going to tell you what that's about, who they're hoping to recruit, and why they could really make a difference in some men who might be struggling after retirement or after losing their loved ones. We're going to have those details for you and more, but first your headlines. Frustration on the phone and online. What's behind the trouble with leisure guide registrations? How do you get to work? A new survey says Winnipeggers are less married to driving themselves than other Canadians. We have details on all these stories and much more. And Terry, it's going to be another gorgeous day in Winnipeg.
Yeah, this last little blast of heat to enjoy the last few days of summer. Not mad about it. I mean, technically, summer will last until the equinox, but a lot of us look at this weekend as being the official end to summer, as school will be starting just on the other side of it. Gorgeous to see that sun rising over the city right now. It's 13 degrees with east winds 4 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity sitting at 100%. And so to get a little blast of heat to enjoy these last few summer-like days, what a gift this is. And it's going to be the case across the province today. Plenty of sunshine, plenty of heat, and in fact, it's not just just for today. We're going to stay with this trend for the next stretch of days, and you'll see on the Futurecast what I'm talking about. A few clouds here or there, but even those will be moving on out. We've got a little bit of fog this morning that Environment Canada has been talking about out at the airport reporting station. Haven't really noticed much of that in the downtown area, but just keep that in mind, especially in some of those more open areas. You might be driving with a little bit of fog this morning. The conditions will stay clear, sunny, hot. Winds remaining on the lighter side. This continues on for the next stretch of days into the start of the long weekend. But by the time Holiday Monday rolls around, that's when we might begin to see a little bit of precipitation picking up. Just for a reference point, though, 22, that would be a normal daytime high, and 9 degrees, a seasonal low. But instead, our low temperatures in these mid to high teens and high 20s or even into the 30-degree mark as we're moving on into the weekend. Monday will bring that chance of showers overnight and into Tuesday, and that's where you're going to notice those temperatures dropping off. So for the first week of September, things will feel and look a little cooler. Our art today is thanks to Lily, 6 years old, and I love what you've done here. Appreciate your art, and we'd love to see more, so please draw, color, paint, take a picture of your art and send it to us to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
Thanks, Terry. If you had trouble signing up for city swimming lessons this week, you're not alone. Most of the spots available through Winnipeg's Fall Leisure Guide were filled within hours of registration opening Wednesday morning. The city says it's dealing with a supply and demand issue with recent pool closures making the matter worse. CTV's Denton Unger explains.
Full, cancelled, full.
This is what Ryan Palmquist found on the city's Leisure Guide website at 8 a.m. on Tuesday morning as he tried to register one of his kids for swimming lessons. He says he wasn't able to get a spot.
I mean, not surprised. This is the same experience I've had again and again and again.
The city says within 4 hours of registration opening Tuesday morning, 87% of swimming lessons for the fall season were full.
Obviously, the main problem is that there's more demand than there is supply of lessons, way more.
According to the city's website, 3 of the 11 city-owned indoor pools are currently closed. Bonnie Vittel is undergoing renovations along with the St. James Civic Center. The Transcona Kinsman Centennial Pool is also closed, though it's set to reopen in early September. And more pool closures are on the way. The city notes the Elmwood Kildonan's pool and the pool at the Cindy Clausen Rec Complex will be closed most of September for maintenance. Not to mention, the University of Manitoba's pool was forced to close in the spring, displacing the teams and clubs that swam there. A spokesperson for the mayor's office tells CTV News in a statement, with the University of Manitoba pool closed, there are fewer options, and that's putting more pressure on city programs. Adding, we know how important these programs are and will keep working to expand access. That work includes a proposed indoor pool in Transcona, but the city notes construction isn't estimated to begin until 2028 to 2030. For Palmquist, he says this year his family will have to fend for themselves.
I guess we're just going to go to the public swim and try to teach our kids as best we can ourselves.
Danton Unger, CTV News, Winnipeg.
As of Wednesday, 88% of fall swimming lessons are full, with registration for non-residents opening this morning. The city says more fall swimming classes may be added as new instructors are brought on board, so the city encourages residents to keep checking the Leisure Guide online. Alberta's police watchdog has determined a Winnipeg officer was justified in the fatal shooting of a University of Manitoba student who was experiencing a mental health crisis 2 years ago. Investigators determined 19-year-old Afolabi Opaso posed a lethal threat to the officers who arrived at the apartment for a well-being check. They found the officer didn't reasonably have time to flee or make use of a less lethal option. The officer's partner told investigators when they entered the apartment, Opaso was about 15 feet away and glaring at them while holding a knife in each hand. She said he didn't respond when asked what was going on and to drop the knives, and suddenly ran at them, which is when the other officer opened fire. The report concluded that version of events is consistent with other evidence, including a short cell phone video shot from another room. Opaso's roommates also told investigators he was behaving erratically, and they either saw or suspected he had knives when they phoned 911 for help. The officer who fired the shots exercised his right to not be interviewed for the investigation. A lawyer for Opaso's family, who is from Nigeria, tells us he is still speaking with the family and may have more to say next week. A vigil last night mourned the victims of a mass shooting at a Minneapolis Catholic school.
Do not carry this all alone.
This vigil was one of many remembrances held in the wake of this tragedy. 2 children were killed and 17 others were hurt when an attacker opened fire into a church. At the time, there were children and others inside, marking the first week of classes.
I just ran under the pew, and then I covered my head. My friend saved me though, because he laid on top of me, but he got hit.
The attacker died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Police have named the shooter as 23-year-old Robin Westman. The FBI is now investigating the attack as an anti-Catholic hate crime. According to the advocacy group Every Town for Gun Safety, there have been at least 58 shootings at U.S. schools this year. Winnipeg has the highest proportion of workers commuting to work in Canada, according to a new report from Statistics Canada. StatsCan data shows 9 in 10 Winnipeg workers regularly commute to work. That's the highest proportion among major Canadian cities. Still, most commuters drive, but the report shows more Winnipeggers are taking public transit, with just over 11% using the bus. And about 6% use active transportation, such as biking or walking, to get to work. That's the highest level since the pandemic, according to the City of Winnipeg. Also, Winnipeg commuters spend less time in their cars compared to most Canadians. The average Winnipeg commute time is about 23.5 minutes, which is 3 minutes less than the Canadian average. If you bought some dining room furniture from The Brick in the past couple of years, listen up. Health Canada has published a recall for Lars branded furniture due to excessive levels of lead. The products include a counter chair, wood countertop, and metal base, tabletop, center glass insert, and counter table. All were sold between June 2023 and July of this year and came individually or as a 5 to 7 piece set. Health Canada says black coating on the product's legs and metal base contained an excessive amount of lead. As of August 15th, there have been no reports of incidents or injuries in Canada due to the products. An old rivalry will play again this weekend in Saskatchewan. The Rough Riders are hosting the Blue Bombers in the Labor Day Classic. And ahead of that matchup, the Bombers are poking a little fun at the host city. A handful of billboards like this have gone up in Regina. They say, "Friends don't let friends wear green," alongside images of Blue Bomber fans celebrating and a Green Riders fan who looks like he might be feeling a little stressed. Below the cheeky message says, "A public service message from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers." After 8 years of work, a retired French metal worker has completed the job of a lifetime. With the help of his grandson, they finished a replica of the Eiffel Tower. Neighbors came out as the finishing touches were put on with a crane. It stands 31 meters tall, about a tenth of the size of the real deal. And here's what's happening now in traffic on the St. James Bridge. Things are moving well here, no issues to tell you about. If you see any problems out on the streets, let us know, please. Let's go back now to Ainsley McPhail, who's telling us all about the Kidney Foundation of Manitoba, the important work they do in our community, and how you can support them. Good morning.
Good morning, Michelle. Well, you can support them in a variety of ways. Donating is a great way to start, with a goal of $135,000. This here is the Legacy Bell. It honors those who have passed from kidney disease, and every single year at the walk, they have a family member ring it in honor of one of those individuals. Now, 1 in 10 Manitobans is either living with kidney disease or at risk of developing it, disproportionately impacting our Indigenous and Filipino communities. Now, this happens silently, so they're asking people to get tested and talk to their doctor about that. The Kidney Foundation provides other resources as well, so we're going to be learning about that coming up at 7:27, as well as chatting with people who have lived experience, because, of course, Rochelle, that's what it's all about. Back to you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ainsley. Let's go out to the rooftop now. It's a good day to go outside for a walk, Terry.
Yeah, it really is. It's so beautiful out here this morning, watching the glow of where the sun is rising. I just can't see the sun itself. Not that that's bad. You should never stare directly at the sun. But this is, I've talked before about how the earth is moving, as I've now learned. I used to say the sun was moving, but that is clearly not the case. It's rising now behind City Place, so I still haven't actually seen that sun as it's not high enough to get above the buildings, but I am enjoying the glow of it all, and it's looking beautiful with blue sky above. 13 degrees outside right now with east-southeast winds, 7 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity sitting at 100%. Across the province, all of us in for pretty much the same, which will be a lot of heat today, a lot of sunshine, and just light winds expected. We've got this breeze that's barely even registering right now, and you can bet once we're feeling the heat today, we might wish for more of a breeze, but those winds are expected to stay on the lighter side through the day, even overnight, and for tomorrow as well. And the temperatures, they're only going to get hotter. High 20s expected today here in the southeast, whereas some places off to the west of us might hit that 30-degree mark, and we're very likely to do that for tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, rolling into the weekend with well above seasonal temperatures when 22 degrees would be a normal daytime high. Wrapping up the long weekend on Monday, still with some above seasonal temps, but starting to see some extra clouds and maybe some scattered showers.
CTV Morning Live Weather brought to you by ABC Fire and Safety, your CO2 refill store.
Thanks, Terry. Checking in now on our question of the day. We'd like to know, what's your favorite comfort food as summer winds down? And just a quick reminder, our question of the day is no longer on Twitter, so now we want you to text your answer along with your name to 10400. Make sure to follow the automated instructions so we can feature your response. Now it's time for your CTV Morning Live Pet of the Week reveal. And this week we're spotlighting Willow. Willow loves lake life but finds it exhausting. And after all the boating and swimming and greeting other kids and dogs, she needs chill time in her favorite chair. Congratulations, Willow, you're our Pet of the Week. Your Pet of the Week submissions have been amazing. We want more, whether it's dogs, cats, birds, or any other pet pal, send them our way. Drop your pet photos and a fun little story about them to petoftheweek@ctv.ca. And then catch us every Thursday between 6 and 9 to find out if your pet is our Pet of the Week on CTV Morning Live. All right, here's a look at the Provencher Bridge. It's a gorgeous start to your Thursday morning. We'll be back after this short break. Good morning, it is 7:16. It's a first for the Winnipeg Police Service. On Wednesday afternoon, officers moved in on a riverside encampment and in their hands a judicial search warrant.
I want to be clear that police are not here to clear or evict anyone from their temporary shelter.
It happened at a camp along Waterfront Drive near the intersection with George Avenue. On Wednesday afternoon, police were hauling out numerous bicycles, some intact, some in pieces. We counted more than a dozen. Police say they entered a structure. They described it as having plywood walls covered with tarps. They arrested 3 people who were inside.
We took the necessary actions that we felt we were responsible under the courts and under our current laws in seeking judicial approval to execute a warrant on a structure that might indeed be somebody's temporary residence. And with that comes an expectation of privacy.
Police say the structures themselves aren't illegal and can be considered a temporary residence under the law. And so police decided to err on the side of caution and got a judicial search warrant so that they're covered legally as they continue their investigation into the stolen property. They say the 3 people arrested are free to return to the encampment if and when they're released. The 3 have not yet been charged with any crime. Canada Post is urging the union representing its workers to revisit its offers, saying there is still a substantial gap between the two sides. In the latest round of contract talks, the Crown Corporation says the union has hardened its position on many items and added new demands. 55,000 postal workers rejected an offer by the Crown Company earlier this year. Canada Post says it's now urging the union to take another look to, quote, align with the realities confronting the company, pointing to mounting financial losses and the need for what it calls urgent changes. Canada Post reported a loss before tax of $407 million in the second quarter. We have a unique look inside this week's dust storm in Arizona.
In the middle of a haboob.
The haboob made it difficult for this family to drive home. As you can see by the video someone in the car shot, drivers were urged to pull over if they ran into poor conditions. Haboobs happen a lot at this time of year in the southwest U.S. They happen when thunderstorms produce downdrafts that kick up dry, loose sand on the desert floor. And here's a look now what's going on Kennison Boulevard. Looks like things are pretty smooth over here. No issues to tell you about. If you see problems, let us know, please.
CTV Morning Live Traffic brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. No appointment needed.
Time now for some entertainment news. Exciting news for fans of K-pop Demon Hunters.
It's time. The world will know you as pop stars.
According to sources, plans to make a sequel are moving ahead as planned, with Sony and Netflix already engaging in talks. The fantasy musical has turned into a cultural sensation, and some critics say Sony gave away too much when it handed it over to Netflix instead of bankrolling a big-budget theatrical release. A Terry Fox documentary is in the works and will include a treasure trove of unseen footage. Toronto filmmaker Sean Menard says he has pulled from more than 90 reels of restored and mostly unseen footage for the film, titled Run, Terry, Run. The film sheds light on the hurdles the Canadian icon faced along the Marathon of Hope and is set for release later this year. Terry Fox united Canadians in an effort to raise money for cancer research, though his run was cut short and he died in 1981. Katy Perry says she's seeking justice in a long legal fight over a California mansion. Perry gave an hour of remote testimony in a Los Angeles courtroom this week. She wouldn't concede directly that she stood to gain money if she won, but did say, quote, "I stand to lose money if it doesn't work in my favor." The case is over a $15 million mansion near Santa Barbara that she and former partner Orlando Bloom bought in 2020. The seller, an 85-year-old man, says he was not mentally competent to make the deal and sued to undo it. Your primetime lineup this evening lets you catch up on The Big Bang Theory with back-to-back episodes starting at 7. Then at 8, the rookie keeps the streets of Los Angeles safe with back-to-back episodes. Bringing in Terry now. It's going to be, you don't want to be inside. You're going to want to be outside this evening.
Yeah, there's nothing good going on inside. Get outside and enjoy it. It's going to be a beautiful evening for sure. Especially because even for those of you that don't love the heat, by the time evening rolls around, we're starting to drop off a couple of degrees. So it will be a very pleasant night ahead. We're looking now through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. Not even a cloud out there this morning. It is gorgeous and clear, and that's the case right around the entire province. Let's look at these numbers too, shall we? Because 9 degrees would be a seasonal low temperature. We're all well above that this morning. Well, except for Melita. Melita's coming in at a seasonal 9 degrees. Everybody else is a few degrees above that. Low teens here in Winnipeg right now, and the day has only just begun. For northern Manitoba, it does look a little bit cooler with some single digits here up into the northeast, but even there, temperatures will be climbing well above what you would expect for this time of year. Plenty of sunshine. I've been talking about the lack of clouds out there, blue sky above, barely a breeze, everything about it so very pleasant. And if you're not a fan of the heat, these morning hours will be the best for you to enjoy, or again into the evening once the mercury starts to drop off again, because throughout the daytime it is going to get hot. By noontime, we're already surpassing the seasonal 22 degrees, or 17 would be a normal daytime high up in Thompson, and you'll be above that. 19 would be a seasonal daytime high in places like Flin Flon and the Pas. And instead, pushing up into those mid to high 20s, that'll be the case for us too. Some places could even hit 30 degrees today. If not today, tomorrow it'll likely be our day here in Winnipeg. And not just tomorrow, but throughout the long weekend and even Monday, hot. But there is the chance of showers, and those showers continuing overnight into Tuesday when we lose the heat as the mercury dips below seasonal on the other side. And I love this. What an incredible capture of this beautiful bear spotted out at Whitemouth Falls Provincial Park. Thanks to Zenon, our photographer. And keep the pictures coming, please, to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
Thanks, Terry. If you're a young person looking for a job and are finding the market is tight, a new report is confirming that. Landing work for young Canadians is the toughest it's been in about a decade and a half. CTV's Adrian Gobriel takes a look at the numbers, the impact, and how to best position yourself.
Printing off their resumes inside this Youth Employment Services Center, teenage siblings Crystal and Avesh Mohavir, who recently moved from Guyana to Canada, are preparing to enter a scarce job market.
It's very difficult to find a job when you're new.
What type of job are you hoping to find?
Plumbing and real estate,
You're open to any and all opportunities. That positive attitude may be a prerequisite for any young Canadian searching for work. CIBC Capital Markets has shared that unemployment for those aged 15 to 24 has increased by more than 5.5% since 2022. The average uptick in youth unemployment during a recession typically has been around 4%.
It is unusual to see this level of youth unemployment when the economy is not in an outright recession.
CIBC economists believe artificial intelligence is in part to blame.
It's taking out some routine jobs that entry-level workers did. And part of it is other technologies, fewer jobs for young people working in a store, manning the checkout counter.
Earlier this month, Statistics Canada announced that youth unemployment in July rose to 14.6%, the highest rate since 2010. Those working inside employment centers like this one believe a decline in retail positions has led to fewer jobs, and U.S. tariffs have resulted in small businesses putting a freeze on new hires.
We're seeing about a 20% increase in youth coming in to see us. They have, in some cases, sent in hundreds and hundreds of resumes, not getting any callbacks.
Leaving some to wonder how deep the unemployment hole could get for youth should Canada actually tumble into a recession in the near future. For young Canadians searching for a career path, those who work here at this employment center say they're currently seeing openings in cybersecurity, cloud computing, and the trades.
Coming up, we're going to learn more about the Kidney Foundation of Canada and its involvement with the Kidney Walk. That's coming up in our community. Stay with us. Good morning. Let's go back now to Ainsley McPhail, who's live with the Kidney Foundation of Canada this morning. And there is a fundraising walk coming up. That's a big deal. It's their biggest fundraiser of the year. Good morning.
Rochelle, it's coming up on September 21st, and you guys can support. We're going to tell you how. Peter Buscemi joins us. He's from the foundation. Tell us about the foundation first off.
Yeah, good morning, Ansley. Great to be here. The foundation is, I got involved a number of years ago. I used to support go to the functions and all that. And just recently, in the last 5 years, I got more involved in the board of directors, and I'm currently the president of the board of directors and a national rep. What we do is, besides providing guidance, is work towards raising funds for many programs and services, and also for research. And we provide grants that help do some research for kidney disease and also organ donations. Yeah, and that's mainly what we do. One thing that we really, in programs and services that we really like to focus on is providing help in young kids. And currently we have Kidney Camp going on at Camp Manitude. We bring in together about a group of 20 kids together, supported by the community of donors, the health community, all there to help these kids share their experiences and also just to have fun. If you can just recall when you guys were all young, going to camps, the roasting marshmallows and all that. That's what we're bringing them for.
Here in Manitoba, what would you say some of the biggest barriers are?
The big thing is access. If you think about an example, some of the, there's some rural hospitals that only have a limited beds. So having machines for kidney dialysis is another challenge. So, access to the north and transportation, I would say, is another thing where we have an opportunity to make some, improvements for.
Well, we're not all going to solve it today. The walk itself is happening at St. Vital Park on September 21st. They have a lofty goal, and they're not there yet. So if you want to support, we'll have a link on our website with more details.
Okay, thank you, Ainsley. And today we're going to see lots of sun and lots of heat again.
Yeah, both of those things, and I've been loving it myself.
Me too.
Feels like a last little hurrah for summer before we're sending kids back to school. It's so beautiful out there. Look at that sky, not a cloud to be spotted. 13 degrees. Environment Canada was talking about a little bit of fog out around the airport area. I really haven't noticed too much of that, and it seems like we can see forever. East-southeast winds, 7 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising and the humidity humidity sitting at 100%. Perhaps, though, in some of those more open areas, maybe along some of the highways, if you've got a bit of a commute this morning, just keep in mind you might notice some low-level fog out there. Otherwise, sunshine, and yes, it's going to be hot today. Here's a look at the satellite image, and there's really not much to show you. 28 degrees is where we're headed today. That'll put us well above seasonal. Normal daytime highs are around 22 for this time of year. And not only do we have the hot temperatures, plenty of sunshine, the winds remaining very light today, so really no relief from that breeze. That's why I've been saying the morning hours, the evening hours might be a little more pleasant, and then a little siesta into the afternoon. That's how I'm planning my day. 14 degrees is our expected low temperature, still with the clear conditions overnight. Still with the winds on the lighter side, but shifting out of the south in the overnight hours. And then still on the lighter side tomorrow with even hotter temperatures expected. Another day with plenty of sunshine. From there, we'll head into the weekend with those 30-degree temps sticking around for Saturday, Sunday. For Monday, still above seasonal, but we'll start to see a few more clouds and perhaps some showers that'll linger overnight and into Tuesday when those temperatures fall off below seasonal for the start of September.
Thank you, Terry. A Manitoba man missing for weeks has been found dead. 37-year-old Jeffrey Kolomaya from Pimichikamak Cree Nation was last seen in the community August 10th. Wednesday, RCMP announced his body was recovered from a marshy area near Cross Lake. The investigation into Kolomaya's death continues, pending the results of an autopsy. Manitoba's chief medical examiner has ordered inquests into the death of 2 men while incarcerated. Tyson Dumas and Nathan Otkey were found in their cells at the Paw Correctional Center and Stony Mountain, respectively, after they were assaulted in 2022. Inquests are not to lay blame, but they can offer recommendations to prevent similar deaths. A third inquest is related to the death of a 22-year-old man who was fatally shot following an altercation with RCMP that same year. Details about when the inquest will take place will be announced at a later date. Hybrid work for municipal workers in Ottawa is coming to an end.
We want to increase culture, innovation, I'm going to say relationship building at the city in terms of people coming back to the workplace. That's really important.
The change means all municipal employees will be required to work 5 days a week in the office starting in January. The move comes a week after Ontario Premier Doug Ford ordered provincial government workers back to the office full-time and encouraged municipalities to do the same. Ottawa's change will impact about 2,600 workers, as the city says 85% of municipal public servants in the city are already working in office. Premier Ford is also urging the federal government to also bring public servants back to the office 5 days a week. Russia has launched a massive drone and missile strike on Kyiv. Officials say at least 15 people were killed, including 4 children, and almost 40 people were hurt in the hours-long assault. Among the buildings damaged was the European Union's diplomatic mission in Ukraine. This morning, the EU's top diplomat is accusing Russia of making a mockery of peace efforts. This was Russia's first major drone and missile strike on Kyiv since U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin met for talks to end the war. A delegation from Ukraine will be in New York tomorrow for talks. The director of the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has been ousted less than a month after being sworn in. The White House says the reason for Susan Monarez's removal was that she was, quote, not aligned with the president's agenda. In a departing statement, Monarez is accusing Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. of weaponizing public health. Her lawyers say she was being targeted for refusing to rubber stamp unscientific, reckless directives. After her departure, at least 3 senior CDC leaders resigned from the agency. Most Manitoba parents say their children's school zones are unsafe. That's according to results of a new survey released by CAA Manitoba just days before kids head back to school. CAA says the survey found 90% of Manitoba parents report dangerous driving behaviors in school zones. They cited speeding, drivers blocking school bus lanes, and distracted driving. The study also found because of safety concerns, 43% of parents choose to drive their kids to school. The problem with that is only increases traffic congestion around schools. CAA makes this suggestion.
Find a safe drop-off spot that's maybe a block or two away from the school. This could be a family drop-off spot where routinely you will be picked up and dropped off there. This is a great and a small thing that you can do that will have a real impact.
The survey found most parents support greater safety controls in school zones, including lower speed limits, enhanced infrastructure, and improved enforcement and education. These cars are solar and wind powered. Teams competing in Australia's solar car race have started adding fins to their vehicles. The fins help generate lift, allowing the cars to cut through the air more efficiently. Think of it as a sailing car. Tech inside these cars, like fins, AI-designed tires, and high-powered solar panels, may one day end up in regular consumer vehicles. And here's a look at these vehicles moving along Pembina Highway. It looks like things are moving well over here. No issues to tell you about at this point. And let's take a look now at your gas prices. The Canadian average is $1.39. The provincial average is a little higher at $1.40 a litre. And in Winnipeg, the average is $1.42. The lowest price in the city is $1.34. All this info is on gasbuddy.com.
Price at the pump brought to you by kidneycard.ca. Get a free tow and a tax receipt for value of your car.
Here's what's happening outside. It's 13 degrees. We'll be back after this short break.
CTV Morning Live is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
Ooh, it looks good outside, doesn't it? Yeah, blue sky and sunshine, barely a cloud. You'll find maybe like 3 out there right now. It will be a beautiful day, and it's going to look like this pretty much across the province. 13 degrees right now with east-southeast winds 7 kilometers per hour. Pressure is rising and the humidity sitting at 100%. I will mention again, even though we're not seeing it here, Environment Canada is reporting some fog out at the airport weather station, so just keep that in mind. Could be a factor for outlying areas, maybe for your commute, especially some low-level fog might be a bit of a factor in reducing visibility a little bit. But if you want to look up, that's where the sun is hanging out this morning and shining across the province. With these above seasonal temperatures, everybody is going to be warmer than you would expect for this time of year, right up into the mid-20s across much of northern Manitoba. Normal daytime highs would be about 17, for example, in Thompson, and instead you're headed to 25. Churchill would typically be even colder yet, and you too are going to be up into the mid-20s. Around 19 degrees. That would be a normal daytime high for places like Flin Flon and the Pas, and instead, look at these numbers. Mid to high 20s right across northern Manitoba, and then even hitting the 30-degree mark for parts of the southwest and west central Manitoba, where here 22 degrees is now a normal daytime high, and a normal low. We're also going to see our temperatures remaining well above that. Single digits will now be seasonal for low temperatures, around 9 degrees here in Winnipeg and much of the south, but instead warmer even overnight and getting even hotter through the day tomorrow. Today up to 28 degrees, well above seasonal, and even off to the east, those temperatures are expected to be on the rise, up to 30 degrees then tomorrow and throughout the start of the long weekend. But by holiday Monday, a couple degrees cooler, still well above seasonal. It'll be warm on Monday, but we'll start to see the clouds. We'll likely see some showers by later in the day. That'll continue overnight and into Tuesday, and that's when we're going to notice those temperatures dropping off, so a little cooler for September.
Thank you, Terry. Let's go back now to Ainsley McPhail. We're learning all about the kidney walk that's coming up on September 21st. It's a big fundraiser. Good morning.
Good morning, Rochelle. And you want to know about the people who you're supporting. That's what this is all about. Adam Kotowicz joins us now. And you have had a very long journey. Your family's had a long journey. Tell us a bit about it.
Well, me and my family have been dealing with it for over 25 years. Myself, I've had 2 transplants, one from my auntie and one from a deceased donor. And then I've done dialysis twice. Did home dialysis where I self-needled and everything and did it all myself with the machine. And it really gave me some opportunity to do other things and free up my time and everything. So it was a great process in that. And just now with peer support and everything, for people to get out there, knowing that the Kidney Foundation always has outlets for you to come and talk to them or whatever you may need. You're not alone in this fight. everybody's got your back, and there's mentors to like myself and everybody else that will help out if you are very scared or don't understand it. I've had the opportunity to had that with my family for over 25 years, so we had the luck of that, and a lot of people don't have that. So it's a terrible disease, and any way that we could fight it and hopefully help people, make it easier by, you know, transportation or whatever it may need for dialysis to getting that transplant and getting people to sign those donor cards. You more than change a life, you save a life, and then you change all the people around you as well, and people like me that want to pay it forward and do as much as I can to give back to the Kidney Foundation and the people that donate. It's just, you can't describe the feeling, and you can never repay those people back, and it's just something that I'll do and hopefully help out as much as I can for the rest of my life. So.
And you said something super selfless earlier, that and I can't even imagine what you've gone through, but it's harder to see someone else go through it.
Yeah, it's you want to help that person and take that burden or pain or whatever they're going through away, and it's a really tough thing. I rather go through it myself than anybody I know that a loved one or whatever that they have to go through it. And I always say that it's you know, somebody always has it worse than you. So if you're, you know, sitting here today talking to you and, you know, just playing sports or whatever it may be, like, that's just happy to be here, and can't thank the donors enough, and you never can.
Thank you so much. Sorry, we're simply out of time. They're looking for $135,000 to support this foundation. More at 8 o'clock.
Thank you, Ainsley. As birds begin migrating, the potential for deadly window crashes increases. Every year in Canada, millions of birds die after hitting a window. CTV Edmonton's Merrick Takash explains how those collisions can be prevented.
Customers at Wild Birds Unlimited have been stocking up on window deterrents as we enter migration season.
I've witnessed it happen in this city and in other cities. It's a very big problem during migration.
Window strikes are a problem Art Nystad is all too familiar with.
And unfortunately, if they're coming in pretty fast, they're not going to survive.
According to Birds Canada, 25 million birds die every year after crashing into a window.
They will often see things like the sky or trees in a window and think that that's just more forest or sky that they can fly to.
The best way to make sure you don't end up with a dead bird in your yard is to make your windows more visible.
And there's basically solid decals that you can put on the glass, and then there's some more clear decals that you can basically, so that you can look out the windows and not be obstructed. And then we have some like dots that you can put on the windows.
Experts recommend solid decals or small dots instead of clear reflective strips.
If they can see it and they realize it's there, then it gives them a better chance of not striking the window, right?
If a bird does hit your window and survives,
the best thing to do is just not to touch it, because you may end up making the situation worse.
Merrick Takash, CTV News, Edmonton.
Hey everyone, Adam Scully here in the Sports Center newsroom. Time now for your must-see moment from Wednesday. For that, we head to the Jays and the Twins. Top three, Brooks Lee cranks one to deep center. Dalton Varsho races back, makes a great catch while crashing into the wall. An amazing catch from the Jays center fielder. Good enough for your must-see moment. And today on TSN, early round coverage of the U.S. Open continues. 4 Canadians in action. All-day coverage begins at 10 a.m. Central. That's all from the Sports Center newsroom. Have a great day.
TSN Must See Moments brought to you by Super Blinds and Draperies, your Hunter Douglas shade provider for over 40 years. CTV Morning Live Weather brought to you by Canadian Footwear, helping you find the perfect fit.
All right. tonight. Blue sky and sunshine. Get those sunglasses ready. I've already been able to peel off that outer layer that I thought I needed first thing this morning. Not that our temperatures were that cool. It just takes that much longer for the sun to rise. But now that it's up, it's going to start throwing some heat our way soon. It's 13 degrees with east-southeast winds 7 clicks. The pressure rising and the humidity sitting at 100%. Our temperature hasn't budged much this morning, but we remained above seasonal with 9 degrees being a normal low temperature and 22 being a normal daytime high. We're going to soar well beyond that up into the high 20s today, and not just here through the south, right up into northern Manitoba, mid to high 20s, well above seasonal. Beautiful, bright, sunny day, dry day, and we're going to have a stretch of these sunny, hot, dry days as we continue on through the rest of this weekend into the long weekend. Next sign of precipitation will likely be on Monday, and following that, the temperature is dropping off for next week.
If you're a man who's recently retired and you're struggling to feel connected in the community, you can sign up for an organization called Men's Shed. Men's Shed is a community-based and volunteer-run organization that's open to all men and offers all kinds of fun ways for them to spend time together, connect, and build new friendships. Joining us now is one of the founders of the Men's Shed program, Ben Salnikowski. Hello, Ben.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us. Now, this all started for you. Well, the Shed started in 2009.
Right.
But you actually went to the Manitoba Hydro building, and you just happened to see a man working away at some of this carving, and you had been active with carving before that.
Yep. Yeah, I started a little bit of carving, and I thought, well, I'd get into it a little bit more, have some fun, and maybe I'll learn something.
Yeah.
And I was kind of impressed by some of the displays they had. So I went to the Woodhaven Men's Shed. That was the only one in Winnipeg at the time. And sat down beside a fellow, and he was whittling away at a piece of wood, and great. And after it was time to go, I said to him, well, maybe I'll come back. He says, well, please do come back. He says, we talked about something that's important. I said, oh, really? No. What's so important that we talked about? I don't know. We talked about fishing and, doing things.
Yeah.
He says, no, we talked about prostates. I said, oh, okay. Fine. What's so important about that? He says, well, now, you have a little problem, I have a little problem. It was nothing serious, by the way. And my wife doesn't understand why I get up to pee every half hour.
Okay.
I don't understand her menopause. She doesn't understand my prostate. I go to the doctor says, take a pill, and you're out of here. But now I understand this a little better. I know what's going on a lot more than I did before.
So it's allowed you to connect with other men who might be experiencing something you're going through, something you can't talk about with your wife, apparently, and it just made you feel like you belonged.
Exactly. And the men we have there now, I belong to a shed now in East Elmwood. We have, for example, we have a blind fellow. What does he do? Nothing. He sits there and talks and listens to what's going on around him. And there's a lot of chattering going on. There's a lot of talking. Guys talk about everything. So a fellow sitting beside him, Keith, says, John, why don't you polish my stick for me? And Keith makes these beautiful canes. They're just gorgeous. This is just polished.
Yeah.
John says, yeah, I'll polish it. Well, the fellow is busy polishing canes, and he's involved. He makes charcuterie boards. Now, this is a man he wasn't depressed or anything, but he had nothing to do. Now he can't wait to come to the shed.
Okay, well, we're almost out of time already. So
sorry.
If somebody's watching this and they really need to connect with other men like you, what's the best advice? How can they join in?
Go to Men's Sheds Manitoba on the internet. You'll find it. There are 5 sheds in Winnipeg with 2 or 3 more on the drawing board. There are 6 or 7 in the province. So just go on the internet, have a look there. And it's a wonderful organization. I just can't believe the way it's changed men's lives. without even trying. Men just come, they sit around, and then they start talking, communicating. It's just so wonderful. I just love to see that. It sounds wonderful.
Well, thank you for sharing it with us. And of course, if this is something that is appealing to you, or you have a partner that it sounds like it might appeal to them, we have a link on our website where you can get more information. Thanks, Ben.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Community Connection is brought to you by Mr. Reuter Plumbing. Born to be a hero, trained to be a plumber.
It's time for Let's Celebrate. Let's see who's having a celebration today. Happy birthday to Jace with love from Mom, Dad, and Brayden. Happy 33rd anniversary to John and Teresa. Lots of love from Mom and Vaughn. Happy 77th birthday to Maureen with love from your family. And a happy 60th anniversary to Ken and Lorna with love from your kids, grandkids, and grand doggies. If someone you care about is having a birthday, anniversary, retirement, or graduation, let's celebrate. To submit your celebration, visit our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and fill out the form at least 2 days in advance. It'll also enter you into our monthly contest for a chance to win a $100 gift certificate to Party Stuff.
Let's Celebrate, brought to you by Party Stuff, 3 Winnipeg locations and at partystuff.ca.
On Thursday. Thank you so much for staying with us. Now, comedian Joe Koy is bringing his Just Being Coy tour to Winnipeg tomorrow. He's going to join us and tell us about a show at about 8:27, so stay tuned for that. But first, your headlines. A razor-thin win in Spruce Woods, how the PCs managed to hang on just by 70 votes. Plus, Minneapolis mourns after deadly church shooting as the city grieves. Questions linger over safety and support. And the Labor Day Classic is here, how the Bombers are already scoring points with billboards. Bringing in Terry now. It's going to be a gorgeous weekend, and today it's starting off to be pretty nice as well.
Yeah, it's so beautiful outside already, so much sunshine. Environment Canada was talking about some fog. I haven't really noticed that. Now, they did mention it was low-level fog, so perhaps we're not going to see that looking high in the sky, but keep that in mind for your outlying commute, that you might be noticing a bit of fog out there. Just blue sky above, though. It's looking quite gorgeous, and 13 degrees is where we're sitting right now, which is even an above-seasonal start to your day. East-southeast winds are 7 kilometers per hour with the pressure rising and the humidity sitting at 100%. Clear conditions, if not for the fog, not much in the way of clouds. You can see that's the case across the entire province today. And even looking at the futurecast to see how things will play out over the course of the day, it looks like it's going to remain pretty sunny throughout. A cloud here or there for some, but even those will be clearing as the day goes on. And then clear conditions are expected overnight. And even with the clouds clearing out, sometimes clear equals cold, we're still likely to remain above seasonal with our overnight temps and then soaring again for tomorrow. So back up well above normal. We're going to stay there all weekend long. A last blast of summertime heat for the last unofficial end to summer, with September arriving on the weekend and school headed back next week. That's when we're going to notice a change up in the conditions. But for the next stretch of days, more of the same, which is sunshine and above seasonal temperatures, 22 degrees normal for this time of year. By Monday, we'll start to see some precipitation likely that'll linger into Tuesday, and that's when those temperatures will be dropping off a little bit. Our art today is a big thanks to Lily, 6 years old, and I love what you've done here. We would love to see whatever it is that you happen to be working on too. Draw, color, paint, get creative, and send a picture of your art, please, to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
Thanks, Terry. PC candidate Colleen Robbins is the new MLA for Spruce Woods. On Tuesday night, she won the by-election, narrowly beating the NDP's Ray Berthollet. The normally safe Tory seat turned into a nail-biter.
A lot of people who predicted the PCs to win this election did not expect it to be that close, myself included.
Robbins took 2,805 votes. Berthollet finished with 2,735, just 70 votes behind. The riding, mainly rural and including part of North Brandon, is usually a Tory stronghold. However, despite losing, NDP headquarters had a celebratory atmosphere.
This was the worst outcome they ever got by far.
PC leader Abi Khan blames the close race on Premier Canu's tactics, accusing him of breaking blackout rules with a funding promise and delaying the vote until harvest. But analyst Chris Adams says the result reflects strong NDP support across the province. Khan, a Winnipeg MLA, now faces the task of rebuilding Tory strength in rural Manitoba. Liberal Stephen Reid placed third with 444 votes. A vigil last night mourned the victims of a mass shooting at a Minneapolis Catholic school.
Who do not carry this all alone.
This vigil was one of many remembrances held in the wake of this tragedy. 2 children were killed and 17 others were hurt when an attacker opened fire into a church. At the time, there were children and others inside, marking the first week of classes.
And I just ran under the pew, and then I covered my head. My friend saved me though, because he laid on top of me, but he got hit.
The attacker died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Police have named the shooter as 23-year-old Robin Westman. The FBI is now investigating the attack as an anti-Catholic hate crime. According to the advocacy group Everytown for Gun Safety, there have been at least 58 shootings at U.S. schools this year. Tim Hortons is planning to become Canada's leader in electric vehicle charging. This morning, the company announced plans to install fast EV chargers at 100 of its locations. The first one is already open in Regina. Tim Hortons says this is expected to make them Canada's biggest provider of fast charging stations. The rollout is scheduled to be done by the end of next year. An old rivalry will play out again this weekend in Saskatchewan. The Rough Riders are hosting the Blue Bombers in the Labor Day Classic. And ahead of that matchup, the Bombers are poking a little fun at the host city. A handful of billboards like this have gone up in Regina. They say friends don't let friends wear green, alongside images of Blue Bomber fans celebrating and Green Riders fan who looks like he might be feeling a little stressed. Below the cheeky message says, a public service message from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And here's a look now what's going on along Portage at Polo Park. It's bright and sunny. You might want to get your shades out. Overall, things moving quite well in this part of the city.
Traffic is brought to you by Curtis Carpets, Manitoba's flooring experts.
The Kidney Foundation is having a kidney walk, which is a fundraiser, its biggest fundraiser of the year. And you're going to introduce us to some participants right now. Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning, Michelle. And when it comes to fundraising, these two, they know what they're doing. Every dollar matters, and the community has really helped them out. Sharon and George Bradley join us now. Sharon, you're living with kidney disease. Why was it so important for you to give back?
Well, I know what it's like to live with kidney disease. It affects every part of your life, every minute. You're constantly worried about what you eat and where you go, and taking medication 6 times a week or 6 times a day. So it became really important that we did everything we could to bring awareness and help find a cure. And so George took on the big endeavor of fundraising, and he's great at it.
Well, that's leading to my next question, because thousands have been raised in the last 4 years. 18,000, you said, so far?
Yeah, and I'd like to see it a lot more. I'd like to double that if there was ever a chance. And it's great that everybody that has registered with the foundation has become a fundraiser. And I carry a champion's shirt here, and both Sharon and I do. We both reach our champion status this year, which means we've raised $1,000 each. But it's not us in particular, it's all the people behind us that have brought us to that point. And to help the Kidney Foundation, we didn't even know about the Kidney Foundation until 4 years ago when we first started. And we just try to do our part. We go to farmers markets. I've been set up in my own front yard. I go to one of the local grocery stores. They told us the parking lot is mine anytime I want to use it to fundraise. They've doubled the amount that I've fundraised. So yeah, it's been really good. We just try to do our best.
Before we're out of time, do you have a message for people watching?
Yeah, be aware of kidney disease. It affects many Manitobans, and transplants are a great way to help. So, get checked and see if you can be a donation.
Perfect way to end this. And donate too. You're probably not surprised to know that these two are leading the charge right now.
Amazing.
Rochelle.
Congrats to them. Thank you, Ainsley. An emotional homecoming Wednesday night for a Manitoban who's been gone from our province for 5 decades. Jonathan Hooker grew up on Moose Lake First Nation, but was taken from his family in the 1970s as part of the 60s scoop. He was adopted by a family in New Zealand. CTV's Joseph Bernacki has the story of his journey home.
It was a whirlwind of emotion for Jonathan Hooker upon his return to the province where he was born.
It's the first time I've actually laid eyes on my mother. It's all a bit overwhelming to be here today, so yeah, it's pretty cool.
It was a return 5 decades in the making. Hooker was taken from his birth family in Moose Lake First Nation in 1975. At the time, the 18-month-old child was one of an estimated 30,000 Indigenous children taken from their homes in what has become known as the 60s scoop. Hooker was adopted by a family in New Zealand and hasn't returned to the province since Wednesday afternoon.
I didn't know anything about the 60 scoop until probably about 5 years ago, and then I've only really, in the last year or so, really learned actually how it all played out. And yeah, it's been a journey, all right?
At Winnipeg's airport, Hooker's return was an opportunity to reunite with his birth mother and extended family from northern Manitoba. Hooker will return to Moose Lake First Nation for a 3-week stay. His long way home began with a discovery from a simple ancestry test gifted by his mother-in-law. Watching him arrive in the terminal, Hooker's mother was overcome with emotion.
I'm happy to see my son. I thought I would never see him again. He was only 2 months old when they took him away from me.
60 Scoop advocate Colleen Rajat says Hooker's return shows more effort is needed to reunite the thousands of Indigenous families that were separated years ago.
Many people don't realize that up to 3,000 of our children were sent out of Canada and around the world, and we need to make sure that every one of those children can come back home.
For Hooker, he's hopeful his story will be an inspiration to others looking for answers about their own past.
Hopefully somebody else again will see this and hopefully maybe start looking for their family or give them some clues to reach out and help.
Joseph Bernacki, CTV News, Winnipeg.
There's a look outside through the Bathfitter Live. Hi, Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. What a stunning start to your morning. We've not seen a cloud all morning long. Nothing but sunshine. Sure, it took its sweet time rising, but now that it's here, it's going to stick around and it's going to be heating things up. We've got well above seasonal temperatures. You noticed them over the past couple of days. More of the same as our little mini heat wave continues for the last little blast of summertime heat before we're welcoming kids back to school and cooler temps that are going to come along with it. Right now, sitting at 16 degrees here in Winnipeg and in Portage. Similar temperatures all through the southeast, only slightly cooler in the southwest. 13 degrees right now, Brandon, Melita, but 9, that would be a seasonal low temperature, and we're all well above that. Right up into northern Manitoba, most places into the double digits now. Gillam is the exception, but even there, later today, mercury will be on the rise and clear conditions right across. Plenty of sunshine. Soaring temperatures, very light winds expected. Here's a look at how the mercury will rise throughout the day today. By noontime, we're already going to be above seasonal. 22 degrees, a normal daytime high. 23 by midday, right up into northern Manitoba, where high teens is seasonal. You're going to be pushing up into those low 20s by midday, mid 20s later into the afternoon, and high 20s expected all across southern Manitoba. And it gets even hotter through the rest of this week, tomorrow, and through the start of the weekend. 30 degrees on tap. Still with the light winds, still with the overnight lows remaining above the seasonal low of 9. And then by Monday, finally another round of precipitation. We'll be needing it by then. In the meantime, you might have to water your own flowers. But by Monday, showers overnight and into Tuesday. And that's when you're going to notice those temperatures dropping off for a slightly cooler start to September. Taking a break right now, but we'll be back with more CTV Morning Live.
Good morning. Do you love wine and a little VIP luxury? Then this is for you. We're giving away a Champagne Lounge VIP experience to the Winnipeg Wine Festival each week. That's for you and 3 friends at the RBC Convention Centre on September 26th and 27th. Enjoy exclusive wine tastings and support the Special Olympics while you're at it. To enter, head to the contest page on our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and enter the clue word, taste. Crews fighting the largest fire in Nova Scotia are bracing for a challenging couple of days. CTV's Paul Hollingsworth has more.
As crews continue the dangerous work fighting the 80 square kilometer Long Lake wildfire, The people who live in Annapolis County continue to rally around the evacuees and firefighters. Around 500 homes or properties have been evacuated so far. This temporary Red Cross Comfort Center offers shelter, food, and clothing for people who were forced to flee their homes. While at a nearby former military base, donations continue to pour in, supporting more than 150 firefighters from out of province.
We had a call out yesterday for supplies that were needed, so we're here hoping to donate a little bit to that cause.
It's a similar theme at the Royal Canadian Legion in Bridgetown.
Anything we can do to help the evacuees, we're willing to do it.
The volunteers at the Legion in Bridgetown are working 16 hours a day.
We're doing four-hour shifts.
Feeding and supporting provincial firefighters who have been on the job for 2 weeks.
They eat 3 meals a day, so we're serving approximately 100 people.
Legion President Stuart Lenthal Ascot says it's a grassroots team effort with hundreds of volunteers from numerous organizations stepping up to support the community. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Halifax.
Life can be tough, and when things happen, if you're not prepared, it could spill over into your professional life. If you've been recently diagnosed with an illness or you had a loss in the family, it can lead to burnout at work and affect your career or business. A local entrepreneur has written and self-published a book to help. It's titled You're Strong Enough for This. Joining us now is the author, Kate Hansen. Good morning, Kate.
Good morning, Rochelle.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Now, congrats on this new book.
Yeah, thank you.
You wrote it in a very short period of time, yes, so you were obviously very inspired by your own personal story. Tell us what happened to you that led you to want to write this book.
Yeah, so since I was little, I loved writing. I always thought I'd be an author, but so I always kept notes. And then as I went through life, I heard one speaker talk about inflection points, things that happen in your life that change who you are, how you see yourself. And so as we were talking about before, when I was younger, I was having all these weird health issues, and then they discovered once I moved here, which was like 10 years later, that I had a non-cancerous brain tumor. But it changed how I saw myself. My body had failed me in my mind.
Right.
Then when I was a teenager, I had been sexually assaulted at what they called a bush party. And that was really traumatic, and I didn't tell anybody. And there was before that happened, and there was after. And then when I had my first baby, we were so happy, but then she started to lose her hair, she became septic, her skin turned gray, and after 4 years, they did a blood test to find out she was celiac.
Oh my goodness.
And so with all of those things, my self-image about what I could handle and what I could overcome changed. I would not have thought I could survive these things.
And then your mom had a stroke.
And then my mom had a stroke 2020 of March, right when the world was shutting down. And so they even came and got her in hazmats and left, and we couldn't see her for months. And I just thought, that's it. I'm writing this book. I've got all the notes that I've got. And I was sharing earlier that it took me about 9 days to get the book written out because I already had it everywhere, but because I had COVID, nobody could distract me, so between naps I would write it, and then it took about 4 or 5 months to edit it.
Wow. But you did have a breakdown. You did struggle with your mental health at one point.
Yes.
It did impact your work.
Yes. Yeah, I was at a grocery store and I just collapsed in the middle of the aisle. I was just laying on the ground, and I'm a germaphobe. I'm laying on the ground, my hair spread out, people walking around me awkwardly, and I called my mom. She said, get right to the doctor. And so I had some sort of breakdown, an anxiety attack or whatever, and I never want anyone else to hit that point because I was lost. I was in a fog. Luckily, I got really good help, professional help, and so that really saved me.
So you've built some resistance, some resilience in the face of really hard times. What are some of the things that you've, sort of the tools you use when you're having a hard day or something major happens?
Yeah, well, like when people ask me, I talk about in the book about building your oxygen mask. And like when I was a kid, I thought, how mean that the people take care of themselves for little kids and seniors, but they can't help you if they're passed out. I think there's an oxygen mask for your life. So your financial health, your physical health, your mental health, if you're not taking care of all of those, how can you take care of yourself or take care of other people? And so my tip is really to look into each of those areas and make sure, am I taking care of myself? Am I prepared for impact? When life happens, a lot of people tell me, one more ball drops and I'm done. And I don't want anyone to feel that. I want you to feel like I'm prepared for this. And my mom just had another stroke in July. Happy to say she's okay, but I could handle it because I know what I can handle.
So you're having a book launch.
Yes.
You're strong enough for this. Where can people check this out for themselves?
Yes, so right now the book is for sale on Amazon. And that's the only location at this moment, but we're having our launch tonight as a celebration of resilience, especially within our community of Winnipeg. I love this city so much. I love our province, and I just want to give back and make sure we're all taking care of each other.
All right, and the book launch is happening tonight at the St. Charles Country Club at 6:30. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
All right, a beautiful start to your morning, and I've been saying that it's going to get hot. So if you're one of those people that doesn't love the heat, and by heat I'm not talking mid-30s, I'm talking high 20s and maybe low 30s for some. But if that's not your jam, get out this morning, make the most of this because it is so beautiful and pleasant. The sun is shining, I'm staring above it, a beautiful bright blue sky, and 16 degrees is where we're currently sitting. That's up from a few earlier this morning, but we never did reach as low as what is normal. 9 degrees a seasonal low. We stayed above that overnight, and for the stretch of days ahead, we're looking at overnight lows and daytime highs that will remain well above normal. South-southeast winds are 4 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 100%, in the sunshine that's going to be sticking around and shining across the entire province. The few clouds that we might be seeing in some places this morning will be clearing throughout the day today, with the mercury on the rise right up into northern Manitoba. Those temperatures will be warmer than you might expect. Low to mid 20s for northern Manitoba. Some might even hit high 20s. And certainly here in the south, high 20s, or possibly for some low 30s. If we're not in the low 30s today, and we likely won't be, topping out at about 28 here in Winnipeg, we'll likely hit those 30-degree temps tomorrow and throughout the weekend. An amazing capture of this incredible photograph of this incredible creature out of Whitemouth Falls Provincial Park. Thanks to Zenon for the picture, and keep them coming, please, to Winnipeg weather at ctv.ca.
CTV Morning Live Weather brought to you by Garage Masters, your complete garage specialists.
Creed's reunion tour is coming to an end this weekend with their final show in Halifax.
These songs have now become a part of people's lives, and they've heard them for decades now. You know, it's so when we play those songs now, it means so much more to us because these songs mean so much to them.
The American rock band reunited in 2023 after a 12-year hiatus. This tour, titled Return of the Summer of '99, kicked off in July and is set to hit the stage for their last show Saturday in Halifax. Although time has passed, band members say being on stage together has felt just like old times. They also say Creed's resurgence of music online has created a whole new fan base, one much younger than the band expected. A Terry Fox documentary is in the works and will include a treasured trove of unseen footage. Toronto filmmaker Sean Menard says he has pulled from more than 90 reels of restored and mostly unseen footage for the film titled Run, Terry, Run. The film sheds light on the hurdles the Canadian icon faced along the Marathon of Hope and is set for release later this year. Terry Fox united Canadians in an effort to raise money for cancer research, though his run was cut short and he died in 1981.
CTV Morning Live is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
Most Manitoba parents say their children's school zones are unsafe. That's according to results of a new survey released by CAA Manitoba just days before kids head back to school. CAA says the survey found 90% of Manitoba parents report dangerous driving behaviors in school zones. They cited speeding, drivers blocking school bus lanes, and distracted driving. The study also found because of safety concerns, 43% of parents chose to drive their kids to school. The problem with that is only increases traffic congestion around schools. CAA makes this suggestion.
Find a safe drop-off spot that's maybe a block or two away from the school. This could be a family drop-off spot where routinely you will be picked up and dropped off there. This is a great and a small thing that you can do that will have a real impact.
The survey found most parents support greater safety controls in school zones, including lower speed limits, enhanced infrastructure, and improved enforcement and education.
Look, 400 people liked my picture. No one liked your picture. No one liked your picture. People are just tapping it and scrolling up. That's all they don't even look at it. Just scroll. No one looked at your picture. When I was a kid, you liked my picture. You had to like my picture because I physically showed you my picture.
He's one of the biggest stand-up comedians in the world. Joe Koy has been selling out stadiums and shows for years, including New York Madison Square Garden and the ICC Theatre in Sydney, Australia. Joe Koy has starred in movies like Easter Sunday, which was produced by Steven Spielberg's production company. He had a role in Disney's Haunted Mansion, and he voices many characters in Netflix animated movies. Joe Koy is bringing his tour, Just Being Koy, to Winnipeg's Canada Life Centre tomorrow night. Joining us now is comedian Joe Koy. Good morning, Joe.
How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for getting up for us this morning. Are you a morning person?
No, not at all.
Well,
I was gonna lie at first, and I'm like, no, my sleep apnea scars are showing right now.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to join us. You were born in a Filipino community, and you share the funny side of your childhood and connections within your family. What kind of response do you get from your audience when you share those kinds of stories?
I think just honesty is always great. You know, you tell your story, and what I love the most is comedy lets everybody understand that we're all just relatable. It has nothing to do with my mom being Filipino. Moms are just moms, and people connect.
Well, I'm not sure if you know this, but Manitoba has a very big Filipino community here. They're really going to show up for you here. What do you think about that?
It's cute. I love it. You know, it's great. You know, I love my Filipino culture, my roots. It's beautiful. Comedy's comedy, though. Everybody shows up. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter what ethnicity you are, they just show up.
And you have a son. Is he growing up very differently than how you grew up? And how do you keep your culture and background alive within your son's life?
Probably just, you know, him just being, you know, I think food is always the best way to introduce people into your culture. And that's one of my favorite things, is to see my son enjoy not only our culture, but our food.
You're really busy these days. What are some of the projects you've been working on recently that you're the most excited about?
Right now, I'm getting ready to shoot another special for Netflix. That'll be my 6th Netflix special. And then, you know, we have a sitcom deal, which just, you know, I mean, we get to write a script and get creative on that end for CBS.
So exciting. Now, you're here tomorrow for a big show. What message do you have for your Manitoba fans?
Just can't wait to come. Canada's always been good. Canada loves to laugh, and yeah, I always get excited, especially when I bring my son. It's not work anymore. It's more like a vacation.
Well, we're excited that you're coming back, and thank you so much for getting up for us this morning. We really appreciate it, and there are still tickets available. So if you want to check out the show, indeed do so. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Take care. That's so exciting. Where are you, Terry? Oh, there you are. You just disappeared.
I know, that was my genie move. I forgot to
Well, it works. You're here now.
We create magic here at CTV Morning Live day after day after day. And Mother Nature, she's creating the magic outside this morning. 16 degrees. It is beautiful out there. South-southeast winds on the lighter side, just 4 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity sitting at 100%. It is beautiful. It's going to be a gorgeous day today. But I say that for those of you that love the heat. If you don't love the heat, you're waiting for the cooler weather, you only have to wait a few days, because on the other side of the weekend, you are going to get your wish. But for those of you that have been waiting for that last blast of summertime heat, certainly it's going to be like that today. Right across the province, very few clouds, including northwestern Ontario. Very clear conditions, plenty of sunshine to kick us off this morning. And that's going to last throughout the day today. 28 degrees is where we're headed. That is well above seasonal. Normal daytime high would be around 22 degrees. And it's not just here in Winnipeg or the southeast or even southern Manitoba, because right up into northern Manitoba, mid to high 20s are expected for you. So again, well above normal no matter where you're looking today. And yes, plenty of sunshine and then clear conditions overnight. When 9 degrees is a seasonal low, we're only dropping to about 14. So it's not just the daytime highs. The overnight lows will also remain I almost said below, above seasonal with 30 degrees on tap tomorrow. It gets even hotter yet as we're wrapping up the weekend, kicking off the weekend, but by Monday, that's the day we're going to be needing some rain by then. It's likely to come later into the day, continuing overnight and through Thursday. That's not Thursday, that is Tuesday that I'm pointing at. But we will notice those temperatures dropping off a little bit on the other side of what's going to be a very hot, long weekend.
Go back to your bottle, Jeannie. Thank you. It's a first for the Winnipeg Police Service. On Wednesday afternoon, officers moved in on a Riverside encampment and in their hands a judicial search warrant.
I want to be clear that police are not here to clear or evict anyone from their temporary shelter.
It happened at a camp along Waterfront Drive near the intersection with George Avenue. On Wednesday afternoon, police were hauling out numerous bicycles, some intact, some in pieces. We counted more than a dozen. Police say they entered a structure. They described it as having plywood walls covered with tarps. They arrested 3 people who were inside.
We took the necessary actions that we felt we were responsible under the courts and under our current laws in seeking judicial approval to execute a warrant on a structure that might indeed be somebody's temporary residence. And with that comes an expectation of privacy.
Police say the structures themselves aren't illegal and can be considered a temporary residence under the law. And so police decided to err on the side of caution and got a judicial search warrant so that they're covered legally as they continue their investigation into the stolen property. They say the 3 people arrested are free to return to the encampment if and when they're released. The 3 have not yet been charged with any crime. Think of these drones as Mount Everest's garbage trucks. Heavy-duty drones are being used to help clear trash at Everest Base Camp this season. Over the spring climbing seasons, the drones airlifted 300 kilos of garbage. Everest has earned the nickname highest dumpster in the world because climbers keep leaving their gear and trash behind. Aside from taking the garbage out, the drones are also able to bring in supplies to some of the most dangerous parts of Mount Everest. A kitten survived a California road trip, stuck somewhere inside the inner workings of a Range Rover on a 100-mile trip. The driver didn't realize the cat was stuck until she arrived in Santa Cruz, where the owner of an auto body shop then spent hours working to free the tiny kitten. Zoe Hunt has the story.
And I said, oh my gosh, I hear it.
A shocking discovery for Amelia Escalante and her friend Jan Furman when they realized the little kitten had been stuck inside Amelia's car the whole time she was driving home from Sacramento.
It must have just climbed right up there, and when it came down to Santa Cruz with me, I thought the first instinct I have is this cat needs to be rescued and it needs love.
Immediately, auto body shop Circle Star Motors stepped in to help.
I just couldn't believe that this car drove 4 hours and there was this little kitten still alive in it. And so it just became kind of like this mission.
It took hours, but Circle Star Motors owner Max Etter wasn't giving up.
Come hell or high water, he was going to get that kitten out of the car.
After several hours of searching through this vehicle, I decided to use a piece of equipment that we use here for looking internally inside engines, which is called a borescope. You snake it down through the car, but then you have to be like, okay, am I looking left? Am I looking right? Is this up or down? You're just looking at an image on a screen.
Then 7 hours later,
lo and behold, was this amazing little kitten that came out crying like a banshee. And
against all odds, the kitten managing to survive hours on the road with the heat, exhaust, and speed of the highway. In the end, the stray cat, now named Rover after the car she came from, finding her family.
Came home, she was obviously like really scared, and I just sat on the floor with her and fed her, and then she like hissed at me and then just laid her whole head into my hand and just laid there and was purring, and that was it.
Pile or something like, oh.
And as Rover is off with her new family, we do want to let everyone know that she's been to the vet, she's updated on all of her shots, she has a clean bill of health. Reporting in Santa Cruz, Zoe Hunt, KSBW, Action News 8.
Here's a look now at what's going on Donald Street. Things are good here. No issues to tell you about. Let's look now at your gas prices. The Canadian average is $1.39. The provincial average is a little higher at $1.40 a litre. And in Winnipeg, the average is $1.42. The lowest price in the city is $1.34. All this info is on gasbuddy.com.
Price at the pump brought to you by kidneycard.ca. Get a free tow and a tax receipt for value of your car.
Let's check in now on the responses to our question of the day. We asked you, what's your favorite comfort food as summer winds down? Susan keeps it simple. Her go-to is chili and toast. Thank you, Susan. Marlene says her summer comfort food is watermelon and garden tomatoes in a nice salad and some corn on the cob. Yes, sounds delicious. Thank you so much for your responses. Let's go back now to Ainsley McPhail. We're talking about the Kidney Foundation of Manitoba and a big fundraiser that's coming up and what you can do to support them. Good morning.
Good morning, Rochelle. The Kidney Walk happening on September 21st. Vanessa Tate joins me now, and we've been chatting with folks with lived experiences, people who are recipients, but Vanessa here is a donor. So tell us about you and your family's experience.
Good morning. My family, I'm actually a living kidney donor, so I donated my kidney to my dad on July 16, 2020. So basically, my dad was here for dialysis, and a lot of First Nations community have to leave. First Nations people have to leave their community to come for dialysis in an urban setting. So I had donated my kidney to him so he can go back home. So that's pretty much a little bit of our journey, and I was able to be his caregiver, be his advocate as well too, in regards to the healthcare system, because there's a lot of systemic racism in it, and so that's basically the journey, a bit of the journey that I went on.
Mm-hmm. Well, we don't have enough time to dive into everything. I really wish we did, but when it comes to the numbers and Indigenous folks disproportionately being impacted, fill in the blanks for our audience.
So again, one of the statistics is like 1 in 10, in Canada, but unfortunately that statistic gets a little bit smaller in regards to First Nations. So 1 in 3 First Nations adults do experience kidney disease. I've met a lot of people on my journey that either are kidney donors, kidney recipients, and as well those that are experiencing kidney disease right now and are on dialysis. There's a lot of, like I said, a lot of different things, a lot of barriers, a lot of challenges that they face. So again, for me, what I promised my dad is that I'd always, share our story, but also advocate for First Nations, and as well as provide awareness around kidney disease, because again, it's very prevalent in our communities, and there's not a lot of education or resources filtered in on reserve for our First Nations. And again, obviously we go through a lot of different social determinants of health, so there's a whole bunch of things that tie into it, and I really think and believe that we need to advocate more for services for kidney disease.
Mm-hmm. We're almost out of time, but I want to talk about your shirt.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so my shirt is again, Kidney Courage. Again, like I said, our walk is on September 21st, and as well my community, my mom and my community on September 21st, she's going to have a walk there to provide awareness on reserve. So I wanted to just really express that, get your kidneys checked. The First Nations Health and Social Secretariat right now is providing kidney checks. So my mom got her kidneys checked just recently, and they're good. So it's really good to really have that opportunity to be able to check your kidneys. And yeah, so I really encourage everybody to check your kidneys at least once a year. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And we know your mom is watching too, so hi to her. She should be very, very proud of her daughter.
Aww.
Back to you.
Thank you, Ainsley. Let's go out to the rooftop now. It looks like Thursday is looking good so far.
It's looking spectacular, Rochelle. Honestly, I'm excited about today. We've had a nice little blast of heat for the past couple of days with the above seasonal temperatures, and plenty of sunshine, and more of that is expected once again. I did just water my flowers. It's time, because we've had a stretch of heat, not much precipitation over the past couple of days, and not much more in the days ahead as we're looking into the long weekend. 16 degrees right now, south-southeast winds 4 clicks. The pressure is rising and the humidity sitting at 100%, so already above seasonal with our overnight lows, but it's our daytime highs that'll be surpassing those numbers big time. When 22 degrees is a normal daytime high here in southern Manitoba, we're likely instead going to be up into the high 20s for today, and then even moving into the low 30s for tomorrow and into the weekend. And even northern Manitoba, you're pushing up into the mid to high 20s for today. So it is going to be a warm one, a very sunny one. If you are seeing a few clouds this morning, they'll likely be clearing as the day goes on. And the winds today on the lighter side out of the southeast, those winds remaining light overnight and through tomorrow as well. I mentioned tomorrow could get even hotter yet, and throughout the long weekend up into the 30-degree range. Monday's the next chance of precipitation, which is why I took the opportunity to water my plants today. It's going to be another few days before Mother Nature helps us out. Taking a break right now, but we'll be back with more CTV Morning Live.
CTV Morning Live weather brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. Same-day oil and tire changes.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
Good morning, it's 8:45. Vehicles still can't travel over the Arlington Bridge, and there is a huge truck parked right in front of it. Crews are currently working on the bridge with a large drill. The city tells us this is part of the preliminary design work for the new bridge. The current Arlington Bridge closed indefinitely in November of 2023 due to structural concerns. Winnipeg's 2025 budget included $22 million to decommission the bridge and another $5 million for design work on the new bridge. A child in Louisiana has bounced into the record books.
It's exhilarating. I can jump higher than usual. I can do more things with it. More skills that you build whenever you get older.
12-year-old Wilson has made a name for himself with his hobby. He jumped hands-free on his pogo stick for 30 minutes and 2 seconds, smashing the old record, which was documented by Kids World Records. He says training for this has also taught him some valuable lessons about discipline.
Well, can you believe the summer is almost over? And that means it's back to school time, of course. Lifestyle and parenting contributor Sherry French is here with great back to school ideas to make sure your kids are prepared to hit the ground running. Good morning, Sherry.
Good morning, and yes, it's a sad time of the year. My youngest is heading off to university.
Wow.
But no matter what age your kids are, I've got you covered today.
Absolutely. So let's start with how, I guess in a general sense, what do you think we need to do to make sure kids are prepared to head back to class?
Absolutely. Well, I've got a daughter with severe allergies, and back to school time is such an important time because we want to make sure that severe allergies don't get in the way in school, activities, learning, class trips, anything. Right. So a little extra planning can go a long way. So you want to have at least 2 unexpired epinephrine pens or EpiPens on hand just in case of a threatening allergic reaction. So you want to talk to your child's teachers, your coaches, the school staff. You want to let them know what symptoms to watch for, where the medication is kept, which is important, and then how to use it. So your child should always have their EpiPens within reach as an allergic reaction because it happens so fast. So never put it in a locker or a backpack, cubby hole. Always have them close. Make sure they know where it is, and head to epipen.ca to get tips on how to manage severe allergies because we know so many kids are allergic and severely. We want to be prepared.
Yeah, so smart and so important. All right, many parents, Sherry, are going to be spending some time in the kitchen to cook up snacks and healthy meals. What about our kitchen routines?
Yeah, so I love this, actually. This is in my mom's kitchen because she's the biggest composter, I think, in Ontario. So when the kids head back to school this September, our daily schedules are finally back. So it's the perfect time to add a compost genie to our homes. So it's got both a durable and convenient design. It's made of stainless steel with a sleek, spacious capacity. I love it's got a hands-free pedal that you can push down just with your foot, an advanced aeration system that reduces moisture while supporting cleaner composting. Also important for your kitchen, equipped with a ventilation system and carbon filter to help control any of those odors. So it's great for your kitchen, your backyard, and it's ideal for any municipal curbside composting programs. The key thing, this isn't a composter. You've got to throw it into your weekly or quarterly municipal curbside composting program. So do that. Head to Amazon. You'll find this. It's amazing. My mom absolutely raves about it.
That is amazing. It's about 5 times the size of mine. I'm just oohing and awing at the size of it.
My mom had the little bucket. My mom had the little bucket. Not anymore.
Sounds good. Well, Sherry, what do you suggest for family wellness? That's an important topic.
Yeah, so back to school, it's the perfect time to refresh your family's wellness routine with simple swaps that fit right into their busy days. So first, you've got these tasty omega-3s from Orange Naturals that will help support growing minds during busy learning days. I love these convenient Mag Pop sachets. What they are a fizzy magnesium drink with electrolytes and vitamin C. I'm making you one right now, and we're on live TV. Easy to mix with some water, and the sausage makes them a fun and nourishing addition to their lunchbox. They've also got this orange tangerine magnesium powder, can be mixed into water, juice, smoothies, offering a versatile and great tasting way to support after school wind downs. You can find Orange Naturals, a Canadian company, which I love, at your local grocery store. So many great products from them.
Also very smart. Now, all right, lastly, Sherry, I'll ask you, there, of course, his first day photos and school pics. What would you suggest to get the perfect coif?
Absolutely. So my youngest is off to university for her first year, and like many teens, the hair is the most important. Forget picture day. No. It's every morning doing her hair. Absolutely. So Annika is a huge fan of the award-winning Revlon One-Step Volumizer. So it makes her mornings so much easier because she can get salon-worthy results in half of the time. She loves the oval brush design. It gives extra lift at the roots, smooth body, as well as curled ends, and it's got an ionic technology that helps to keep frizz under control, which is key, I know, for her hair. And the ceramic coated barrel will give you even distribution, so you have faster styling and drying. As a mom, I love that you can get salon-worthy results without that salon price tag. Head to Walmart, only $54.96. Easy to find. It looks great. Annika already has this packed. This is the one I'm using because she stole my first one. She's ready for back to school at university.
I get it. The struggle is real. I fight the frizz every day. Sherry, always great ideas. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Happy back to school, everybody.
Yes, and by the time we're sending kids back to school, these temps will be a little bit cooler. So if you're a fan of that summertime heat, get outside and enjoy it. We got a nice last blast of summer before it begins to cool down. It's 16 degrees right now in Winnipeg with winds out of the south-southeast 4 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising, the humidity at 100%. Look at that sky. Stunning, right? Not much to show you here on the satellite image because that sky that's looking so stunning doesn't even have a cloud in it at this time. That's pretty much the case no matter where you go. So lots of sunshine all around the province and above seasonal temperatures. I'm talking high 20s here in the south, and even for northern Manitoba, mid to almost high 20s, especially along the northwestern border. It'll be high 20s, mid 20s for the northeast. And here in the south, high 20s for today, but hitting 30 degrees as early as tomorrow. Wind staying light at least for the next couple of days, and nothing but sunshine right into the start of the weekend with these temperatures on the rise, sticking around the 30-degree mark. But it's not just our daytime highs. Overnight lows seasonally would be around 9 degrees, and instead dropping only as low as those mid-teens overnight. So 30 degrees right into the start of the weekend. Monday starting to change up with the conditions somewhat, still above seasonal, but rain begins, continues overnight and into Tuesday. And then for September, as we're sending kids back to school, it will get a little soggy, maybe a little cool too. Taking a break right now, but we'll be back with more CTV Morning Live.
Rooftop arrangements provided by Lacoste Garden Center. Salon services provided by Essentique Spa Salon.
We're going to send you off with some fun video. When kids eat, it's constant entertainment and stress for parents. Does this look familiar? Yeah, this man is channeling his inner child, eating. Watch as he spins, stands, lies down, and dances while taking bites throughout. Like all kids, he does everything except actually sitting. Yeah, okay, this looks familiar.
I feel like I could do that too a little bit. Not just kids.
Now to a little girl channeling her inner Elphaba.
No, leave her alone. She hasn't done anything wrong. I'm the one you want.
Ready for Broadway, this 2-year-old knows all the words to the song Defying Gravity from the movie Wicked. The little lip syncer lights up every room with her sass and her spunk.
Well, with her stage mom behind her. I'm pretty sure that's where she gets it from.
Sweet. And then lastly, sharing is caring unless it's your favorite treat.
Can I have some?
Oh yeah, she's not sharing. Little Zia loves her mom, but loves her ice cream more. You need some ice cream today to stay cool. Have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow.